say welcome in to another brand new live edition of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. With Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond, we are live for 2 hours here inside the studios this morning. We do welcome your thoughts, your opinions. 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And we do want to hear from you. We've got a lot of stuff to get through this morning. Freddie Freeman opened up on his yesterday with his conversation with Alex Anthopoulos and his teammates. He opened up that yesterday with reporters. Sam Pittman not going anywhere anytime soon. We'll detail all of that and who's next. Saturday down south, Connor O'Gara gives us an X factor for both Alabama and Georgia after their spring games. And guess who the X factor is for Georgia? I bet you cannot guess who it is. We'll tell you who it is. And then Brian Kelly. What's left for Brian Kelly? Brian Kelly made some interesting comments about Notre Dame and everything, and Ed Orgeron appears at Notre Dame and gives a speech there. So what's left for Brian Kelly to do at LSU to validate his move? We'll go over all of that and a lot of stuff this morning in 2 hours. 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And the Atlanta Braves on the West Coast taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers, and that meant for the very first time, Drew, the Braves had to face Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman, a solo home run in his first at-bat against the Atlanta Braves. You can't make that stuff up.
Nope, opposite field home run. Freddie Freeman, the greatest first baseman in Braves history, now playing for the Los Angeles Dodgers, who I hate and always will. I can't stand them, but certainly it's a tradition-rich organization. But Freddie's going to have a huge impact over there. He's a great player. Certainly, they've got a great team. I think they're the best team in the NL West. They certainly have the best roster. The Giants may have something to say about it and had a great run last year. And certainly you've still got the Padres, who the Braves just split 4 games with. But Freddie Freeman meant so much to the fabric of the Braves organization. They drafted him in the second round. He became such a great player, and he was an MVP and then caught the last out to win the World Series a year ago. So it's just still kind of surreal seeing him in a disgusting uniform like the Dodgers, but that's baseball. And Matt Olson certainly had a nice game last night himself, but the Dodgers win the game. That's all that matters. And to make matters worse and to rub it in even more, our own Craig Kimbrell saved the game for the Dodgers and worked the 9th inning. So, again, 2 former Braves and Craig, of course, one of our great representatives of our community, former Lehigh star at Wallace State Hanceville, now closing for the hated Dodgers.
That's his 3rd save of the season for Craig Kimbrell. Mm-hmm. Freddie Freeman did have a chance to visit with reporters and did have a chance to meet with Alex Anthopoulos and several Braves. Here's Freddie's conversation.
Mm-hmm. What did you take away from that conversation?
That our relationship was good. That was the key thing, is we spent so much time together over the last 4 years working to win a World Series, and we were able to accomplish that. And obviously with the lockout and all that, and not being able to talk and free agency, just to be able to talk to him again and make sure our relationship was good. That's what it was all about, because when I walked in that dugout, it was a huge hug, and that's what I wanted, and that's what I think he wanted too. So obviously we're on different sides now, but the friendship is strong.
Freddie, when you think about the fact that are you getting this done early? Is that a positive that it's happening right now, early in April?
See, I'm glad it's happening now, because I get to see the guys I haven't seen anybody since the parade, because I live in California in the off season. So once the parade happened, we were just getting ready to pack up our house in Atlanta and come out here. So I haven't seen anybody. So I'm glad it happened soon, so I could see all the guys and. Hopefully they're still not up to par and throwing 100-mile-an-hour cutters and stuff like that. So I'm glad it's here early, just for the fact that I get to see them, because I haven't seen many of them since the parade.
Freddie, you talk about missing the guys. Can we safely assume that you don't miss the tomahawk chant?
I don't know if that is relevant. I've gotten a pretty good chance here over the course of the last 4 games. So
The atmosphere here.
What have you thought about the Freddie chants here?
I'm very surprised. I kind of like it, but they're chanting every time I go up to bat. Now I feel like I gotta do something special every time. You know, I was just slapping singles yesterday. So, but it's actually been amazing. It really has. They've been welcoming with open arms here, and I got quite a bit of family members here tonight. So in the next couple of days. So it's just gonna be a special couple of games.
All right, Freddie Freeman opening up there about his conversation with Alex Anthopoulos and seeing some of the Braves and everything yesterday. His first chance to play the Braves.
Yeah, I mean, Freddie's a class act. There's no doubt, and I'm glad that everything went well between him and Alex Anthopoulos and his former teammates. But give me a break with all these Dodgers fans being such great fans, blah, 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 and chanting all that. There's 5 people there till the 5th inning. All these idiots get there about the friggin' 5th or 6th inning, and then they leave in the 8th. I mean, they got the worst fans in baseball. Give me a break with that. No disrespect to my good friend Stu Studeman, who's a big Dodgers fan, but give me a break. Dodgers fans suck.
All right, 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. We start you off with just a little Braves baseball. Don't forget, the Braves are going to stay out on the West Coast, and you'll be able to hear that action right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. All right. So, Connor O'Gara.
Yeah.
Georgia had their spring game over the weekend as well. We recapped a little bit of some other spring games yesterday. And Georgia had theirs on Saturday. First time that the fans have been inside Sanford Stadium since they had their national championship celebration. So this is the first chance they're getting a look to see the Georgia Bulldogs. Connor O'Gara said, okay, here are 2 X factors, one for Georgia after their spring game and one for Alabama after their spring game, that could help and be key to title pushes for both teams. Mm-hmm. The one for Georgia is really, really surprising. The one for Alabama, I don't think anybody's going to be too surprised with. The one for Alabama is Christian Leary. Says this guy here, Connor O'Gara says, this guy really could be a huge X factor for Alabama because he could end up checking an underrated box for Bryce Young. He says with Jamison Williams, John Mechie, Slade Bolden, and tight end Jalil Billingsley all gone, Alabama has a major hole to fill in the slot, and Christian Leary could be there.
Yeah, he could, but I still think the likelihood of him being in the top 4 wide receivers for Alabama this fall is still going to be a little bit of a long shot. And the reason I say that is Ja'Cory Brooks did not even participate. He's got a lower leg injury, should be healthy. He really asserted himself at the end of last year, as you know, Scott, especially in the Iron Bowl and the SEC Championship game. You can, and then in the college football playoff games, had the touchdown member against Cincinnati in the semifinals in the Cotton Bowl, and then had a pretty good game against Georgia in the national championship game.
Right.
And then Jermaine Burton is definitely going to be a huge part of this offense, coming over from Georgia as a transfer, they're calling it now portaling, I think is what what the reference is. He's in Tuscaloosa, and then Tyler Harrell. Now, this hasn't happened yet, but it's kind of like the Tyler Steen situation. We all felt like Tyler Steen was coming to Alabama, and we felt really positive about it. I think by the end of this week, I wouldn't be surprised if Tyler Harrell were a part of the Alabama program. And if you get him, he's a 4.25, and we've said it ad nauseum. If Nick Saban is going after someone in the portal, it sure ain't to sit on the bench. And now you have to earn your job, but he sees something in the kid that he believes he can be a big part of it. And so that's 3 receivers right there that I think already that have experience that I think would be in that top
Right.
Top three. And then I think JoJo Earl was probably ahead of Leary. I know he is, or at least going into the A-Day game. I know he had 2 scrimmages where he didn't catch the football, but JoJo Earl is still a big, important part of the plans for Alabama. I think Leary can continue to climb.
That's kind of what Connor O'Gara
and get into the plans, but I don't know if he's going to be a huge part of it yet.
He's saying that, he said nobody's saying that Leary's going to be an All-American, or the fact that, and he does say that he's got, he has a long ways to go before he becomes a key contributor for a championship caliber team. But he says that he feels like he could be an X factor. Now, the one for Georgia, and this is just basing, and Connor O'Gara is basing this off of their performances in their spring games.
Oh, yeah, I understand that.
So this one for Georgia, I was like, huh?
Yeah.
I had to read this a couple times. Arik Gilbert.
I mean,
because of his performance in the Georgia spring game.
Glad that he's made another appearance. I mean, he's basically been MIA for
3 catches, years. 49 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Drew 2 defensive pass interference calls in the Georgia spring game for Gilbert.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see him back out there producing. We'll see how big a part of it he's going to be. But Brock Bowers is still the alpha dog there. And the one that I think is going to be the big featured part of the offense. He's just an unbelievable talent. You and I were in agreement of that. When you just doesn't do. And I mean, we knew how good he was. At least we felt like. But then when you see him in person, it brings an even bigger perspective of him catching balls in traffic and how dynamic he is. His ability to be like nifty and break tackles and things of that nature. I just think he's an outstanding weapon. Certainly, Arik Gilbert has had a huge profile coming out of high school, had a decent freshman year at LSU, and then we saw him disappear. He's now back at Georgia. I mean,
it did get out during the spring game, and ESPN released it, that Gilbert ballooned to north of 300 pounds by the time he joined the Georgia program in January.
Ooh. Wow. No, that I had not heard that. 300 pounds. Wow. I hope the young man has been able to. I know he was having some mental health issues. I hope he's been able to fight through those and get past them.
Yeah, Kirby Smart said conditioning this spring and learning the playbook have been points of emphasis.
Oh, I'm sure.
For Gilbert. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because they haven't seen him. He hasn't had any action at all. So, but again, I just think overall, Arik could be an X factor. But I just think when you're Connor O'Gara and you talked about Christian Leary, you should have been talking about Jahmyr Gibbs, because you have to take into account the kind of impact he's going to have as a receiver and runner. He's going to be a matchup nightmare. He is the X factor. Because Alabama had got a great senior year out of Brian Robinson, but they had a running back room that was banged up.
Right.
Had to move a guy like Christian Leary to running back. But Jahmyr Gibbs he was MVP of the game, which didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, only because his team lost 25-7. Okay? In my opinion, I think Christian Leary should have been MVP because he had the 5 catches, 106 yards, and the touchdown, the 52-yarder. But I will say this, seeing Jahmyr Gibbs in a scrimmage, then seeing Jahmyr Gibbs in the A-Day game, they didn't show a lot in the A-Day game. He didn't do anything at receiver. He will in the fall. To me, he's the X factor. He's going to be a guy that can have a Jameson Williams type impact on this deal. And Jameson Williams had a huge impact from the first game on. As you remember, he had a 94-yard touchdown catch against Miami, and then just was the big game JMO from there forward and put up huge numbers. And I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be a one-and-done in Tuscaloosa. If he stays healthy, I think he's going to put up enough all-purpose yards where he's going to move on to the NFL.
Yeah. O'Gara points out in this article that remember when Alabama and Georgia faced off in the title game, he says, none of the 3 offensive players who scored touchdowns were projected to be starters at that time last year. Bowers, Mitchell, and Cameron Latou.
Yeah, I mean,
So I think that's why. I think that's where he's reading into how he could be an X factor, because nobody that scored those 3 touchdowns were projected starters, and obviously for Alabama's sake, it was injury more than anything in that game.
Well, I disagree slightly with Latou. I thought Latou was going to be a starter and going to play a lot. I was not surprised because you remember he had a big game against Miami from the jump, and that wasn't because of injury. I just think that Latou was a guy they were counting on. Now, I agree with him with Brock Bowers. It's kind of funny to say this, but Brock Bowers didn't come in with the reputation of an Arik Gilbert. Arik Gilbert came in with a 5-star reputation. He was supposed to be this was supposed to be his last year coming up this fall and be going on to the NFL. He wasn't supposed to be MIA, man. And then
But if Jaleel Billingsley wasn't MIA,
yeah,
Cameron Latou probably doesn't see the field
and
as
I
much
guess
either, though,
that's
right?
he's referencing Jaleel Billingsley. I guess let me preface this by saying I thought Latou was going to be a co-starter because, again, Jaleel, the next person he blocks will be the first one. Okay?
Yeah.
He's not exactly a proficient blocker. So that's why I considered Latou no worse than a co-starter, because Latou, he struggles at times too blocking, but the effort is much, much better. There's not a lot of whiffing that goes on.
Yeah.
So
we got plenty of that. I did not understand all that until the national championship game. And when he fell down, Billingsley did on that first route that he ran that should have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. You could see it from there that he just...
And he whiffed on a block later that would have sprung Brian Robinson.
Wow.
I mean, the guy was just awful.
Yeah.
Okay? Like I've nicknamed him worthless. That's what he was. And so he very talented player. He may go to Texas and do well. Sark, when he was OC his last year at Alabama in 20, was able to scheme some things up and get Jaleel to play hard. Maybe they can reach the guy at Texas. I don't know. I'm sure
he's got talent. He's got talent.
There's no doubt. There's no questioning of that at all. And I guess that's what O'Gara's talking about. But again, Latou at worst was a co-starter, and with Nick Saban, you always need an inline tight end to block. I know you also had Kendall Randolph, but again, I thought that Latou was going to be a big part of the offense last year, and people are kind of down on him right now, and he didn't have a great A-Day. I admit that, but here's the deal too: he led the SEC tight ends, I think, even over Bowers in touchdown catches last year. And again, the thing with Brock Bowers was, yes, he was heavily recruited, but he wasn't like Arik Gilbert. I certainly wasn't anticipating the freakazoid Gronk the second stuff that we saw out of Bowers. I mean, if he does not come on like that, Georgia doesn't win the national championship. He became their biggest weapon in the passing game by the time they got to the college football playoff. I mean, he was just a monster. And so he's going to be a huge part of their team this year. I'm anxious to see how people now, because nobody was looking at him last year, Scott. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They were Jermaine Burton had a bigger name and, was still the leading receiver for Georgia. But again, or the second leading to Bowers, really, I guess, but the lead dog at wide receiver. But they were talking more about how dynamic George Pickens might be coming off an injury, and then of course with Jermaine Burton, they weren't talking about Bowers. Bowers really started getting some buzz toward midseason, and then was like a runaway train. That kid was unbelievable. But I'm anxious to see what Todd Monken and Kirby Smart can do with Brock Bowers going into this fall, because he's just an unbelievable football player.
It is 7:21. We need to get our first break in. When we come back, we got to talk Sam Pittman and contract, and Dick Vitale goes angry on the transfer portal.
Oh, boy.
We'll explain.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
The Braves are back, and they're on a mission to defend the East, defend the National League pennant, and defend their world title.
Fly ball hit to deep center field, retreating his script, at the track, at the wall, she's gone!
Tonight, 2 of the National League's best face off at Dodger Stadium in L.A. as Matt Olson and the Braves face off against the Dodgers. Braves Radio goes on the air at 8:55 Eastern, 7:55 Central on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
Good morning. We're back to a clean slate now. Had 3 wrecks working, but they've all been cleared up now. You be careful dealing with bumper-to-bumper traffic now on all of those inbound routes. Tried numerous weight loss plans and nothing seems to work? Hormones could be the problem. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Hey, North Alabama, this is Chuck Oliver. We've got college football all over the place, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
Where would this college be without football?
Listen to me weekdays at noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
And welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. It is 7:25 on a Tuesday morning. And I mentioned Dick Vitale, and yesterday, Dick Vitale, by the way, got to ring the bell the other day. He is cancer-free.
Coach is cancer-free.
Yeah, he got to ring the bell, big old ceremony, so, you know, all that is good, and he's going to get his voice back.
Yeah, that's another thing, too. He had to have the surgery,
Yep.
so, yeah, hopefully he will be back on the airwaves next basketball season. Yep.
And so Dick Vitale obviously then pinned something on Twitter yesterday, just lashed out at the transfer portal in college athletics, in part saying, and a lot of this is in all caps, but says, pathetic what the transfer portal is doing to college sports. How is this chaos and cheating going on? Great lessons for young people to develop values needed for the game of life. Quitting, lack of loyalty is what is happening, traits that destroy people as they face the real world. Please don't sicken me with the wacky argument that over 1,400 players transferring equates to about 50 coaches leaving. Whining that coaches don't sit versus players is solved easily by the VBDI rule. Coach please, players should be allowed to leave without sitting. End of story.
Well, that's still portaling, even if the coach leaves, okay? So you're saying that if the coach doesn't leave, a kid shouldn't have the right to transfer. I mean, it's a new world, man. Just deal with it and just understand that's the way it's going to be, and that's the way that the rosters are going to change dramatically each and every year. Now, I will say this. The part I don't understand is where you see kids transferring to 3 schools in 5 years. I don't get that. I think that you should, unless you're a graduate transfer like JT Daniels, one of the most overrated players in the history of college football, who is now going to West Virginia, but he graduated from Georgia. Despite the fact he didn't make near the impact that everybody said, he didn't win any Heisman Trophy.
He didn't make any impact.
I mean, he didn't become a first-round draft choice. He still graduated. And
True.
So
he got his degree.
So when you do that, I've said this many times. Hey, if you graduated,
I've said
you can
that
go
too.
wherever you want to go, man.
Yep.
All right.
I agree with that. As long as you have that degree. Yep.
Yeah. If you get the degree, you gone. And so, but I just don't understand. I've seen a few cases where kids go into the transfer portal the next year again, and they end up there's kids that end up at 4 schools in 5 years. I don't get how that's possible. I thought the whole rule was you could transfer one time without having to sit, and then you couldn't do it again unless you were a graduate transfer. And most of the time that's not the case. But I will say this, a lot of it too, and it makes my head explode. Hell, I can't keep up with it, is all these COVID years, man. I don't know where they're coming from. I mean, just like James Rojas, he had a COVID year. He's going to Wichita State to play in the AAC. I'm like, are they in the Missouri Valley now?
No. They have left the Missouri Valley. They thought they were too good for the Missouri Valley Conference.
So that's right. They went from the Missouri Valley to the AAC, right?
Yeah, Wichita State. Yes, they left the Missouri Valley. They thought they were too good for the Missouri Valley.
When they had the king of Wichita, who everybody thought was
Greg Marshall.
Going to win a national championship at Wichita State, and instead he decides to call his players every name in the book. Now he's out of the business. But anyway. I'll just say this. I mean, I just think that kids should be able to transfer one time and not sit out. But after that, if coach is referring to that, I agree. I don't understand kids that get a chance to go to 3 or 4 different schools. How do you establish yourself anyways? If you're not staying in a program at least 2 or 3 years. I don't understand that. Now, and I wasn't getting on Rojas either. Now, Rojas graduated from Alabama, all right? So he spent 3 years there. He played through 2 knee injuries. He's going to be close to some family over there in Kansas. Hey, good luck to the dude, man. He was a leader at Alabama. Not a great player, but a guy that was a program guy. Good luck to him. But right. I just don't understand some of these players that, nothing's happened, but I heard rumors that Zep Jasper was going to go into the portal for Auburn. And he had just come over from College of Charleston. And he was a big part of Auburn basketball last year, man. As the starting point guard, and I'm sitting there thinking, why would he, transfer? He has not. Hopefully he will not. But it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It's like musical chairs. And so it's just crazy, man. And then with Mark Sears, look, he played at Ohio University. He put in 2 good years over there, proved beyond a shadow of a doubt he was a great, group of 5 player. Wants to prove himself in the Power 5, coming home to the state of Alabama. How can you blame him? I mean, to me, you can't. And then right. Walker Kessler with Auburn, he wasn't playing in North Carolina, man. They wouldn't play him. So he came to Auburn, and it was great for his future.
Yeah. So anyway, that was Dick Vitale. I just thought it was interesting. I did. I thought it was interesting that he put that out there, and because it's something that it was something that just kind of caught my eye there. All right, so back to college football news. Sam Pittman.
Yeah.
Has agreed, and his agent, by the way, is Jimmy Sexton.
Shocker.
He's agreed to terms of a raise and a contract extension. That followed Saturday's modified scrimmage for Arkansas. Pittman describes the contract and extension as basically a forever deal,
so he wants to end his career at Arkansas.
Lifetime contract, yeah. Pittman
and I actually
had been
believe
working.
him, by the way. I don't think he's one of these hyperbolic guys, even though he did work for Kirby.
His original contract paid him $3.75 million last year with performance incentives.
Right.
So you do the math there. He's obviously going to get more than that. He describes it as a lifetime contract and said he felt awesome about the agreement. So Pittman obviously getting rewarded for what he's been able to do at Arkansas, which is remarkable because Chad Morris had that program.
I'm telling you, Scott. I'll reiterate what I said. I'm just being honest. In 2019, when I went to that game to watch Mac Jones' first ever start, remember this was his first ever start because Tua Tagovailoa got hurt against Tennessee,
right,
and had to have more ankle surgery for the old lasso thing, and Mac prepared well and went out and lit them up. But that is one of the worst SEC teams, and I'm talking bottom of the barrel. This is like some of these Vandy teams that we've seen in the past that went 0-8 in the SEC and didn't come close to winning a game. These dudes were horrific. I mean, it was so bad. I mean, you remember they lost to San Jose State. I mean, they couldn't beat anybody. They did not believe in Chad Morris. That's why Chad Morris has gone in just a few short years from offensive coordinator at Clemson to head coach at SMU to head coach at Arkansas to head coach at Allen, Texas High School, because they did not believe in Chad Morris. It was atrocious. It was the worst SEC Western Division team I have ever seen in my life. It was terrible.
Before we get on to the next question, has that been the worst head coaching hire in the SEC in the last 20 years?
I don't know. Coach Orgeron was pretty bad at Ole Miss. Now, he won a national championship at
So we're talking
at
about
LSU.
Orgeron, Ole Miss. Okay.
Yeah, well,
Let me see.
You remember JoJo in the Hummer commercial. I mean, Orgeron was pretty bad at Ole Miss. I mean, he did win some games, but
let's see here.
It was pretty bad, especially there at the end, man. I mean,
He was 10-25 overall, 3-21 at Ole Miss was at Orgeron. He won 3 SEC games.
I'm telling you. He was bad.
Okay, let me just see Chad Morris here.
And Chad Morris, they could definitely look each other in the eye, man. There's no doubt about that.
Chad Morris was 0-14 in SEC games in 2 seasons at Arkansas, 4-18 overall.
Yeah, I guess you got it. He just edged out Coach O. Because at least Coach O. Coach O bounced back and got a national championship because of Joe Burrow. But
right.
I mean, I'm just talking about
are those
Ole Miss.
two the worst hires in the last 20 years?
There's no question about
20 years, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was brutal. Those are the two worst, man. I mean, Vandy's had some bad ones, but look, it's Vandy. Okay, they don't really care. That's what I've always said. All they care about is getting the check. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gave you a check this morning. You love a check. Everybody loves a check. Vandy loves checks, okay? They love the money. They don't care about winning. Scott, they have barely updated the facilities in football since 1982, man. They don't care. I mean, I really just don't think Vandy puts an emphasis on athletics. They're an outstanding academic institution.
Clark Lee, by the way, is 2-10
in his first year.
0-8 in the SEC play.
Yeah, and that was a rough first year.
We like Clark Lee, personality-wise. We like him.
Yeah, really do.
But if he goes winless again in the SEC, he has the same record as Chad Morris in SEC play after 2 years.
Yeah, but it's Vandy, though. It's not Arkansas, who expects to win, who's got the Waltons and, all these people that, Tyson Chick, all this money. Come on. I mean,
I'm just saying.
0-14. I mean, at Arkansas. Whew. I'm telling you.
0-14. He was 0-8 and 0-6.
No, I mean, he's.
By the way, Chad Morris, before he got to Arkansas, was 14-22 at SMU.
Oh, yeah.
8-16 in American Athletic Conference play before he got to Arkansas.
But he went 7-6 his last year, and everybody
7-5
or whatever.
4-4 in conference play.
They thought he'd turn the corner. I mean, then Sonny Dykes comes in there and shows you what a real coach is supposed to do. I mean, Chad Morris, Lord, give me a break. He was a fraud.
So the question that I was going to ask was the opposite of that. I mean, I didn't intend to go to the worst. So Sam Pittman describes it as a lifetime contract, wants to be at Arkansas forever. He's made no secret that this is his dream job.
Yeah, shout out to B. Rich. He just sent us the Hummer commercial to my phone. I knew somebody would find it with JoJo.
Oh, my gosh. That is we may have to pull that up for the next segment. But anyway, so Sam Pittman describes it as a lifetime contract. I mean, he's made no secret that he's wanted to be at Arkansas. All right, Nick Saban, we're going to take him off the list. We're going to take Kirby Smart off the list. And Brian Kelly off the list for right now. And Jimbo Fisher, because those guys, they've got those big deals. Of the rest of the SEC, who's next in line to possibly earn their way to what we describe as a lifetime contract at their current school?
Well, I don't know about lifetime contract.
I mean, I know that. But what they would describe as a lifetime deal, that they want to be there forever type of contract. Is it a Josh Heupel?
It would be Josh Heupel.
Beamer?
I mean, or Shane Beamer, one of the two. I would say Josh, though, because he won, 7 games, should have won 8 last year, in a situation where he lost 30 dudes to the portal. And now he's got, I've been working on this, Nico Iamaleava.
Is it a Mark Stoops?
Yeah, it's, Iamaleava, man, if he can be that kind of impact guy for Tennessee and they can piece together a huge recruiting class, and say they win 8 this year, Scott, or 9, then I think he could be in line for a huge raise. Now, I'm not saying it's a lifetime contract.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you see Josh Heupel staying at Tennessee?
And again, look, I don't think it's a lifetime contract with Sam Pittman, but Sam Pittman's saying that because he is perfect for Arkansas. He wants to be at Arkansas.
Sam Pittman wants to go anywhere.
No, he does not.
Do you get a feeling that Josh Heupel, though, after 3 or 4 years at Tennessee, I mean, is this as high for Josh Heupel?
Probably
he wants to go?
Not. I would say Josh Heupel would likely stay, and the reason I say that is his alma mater just opened, and he had not done enough at Tennessee to get the Oklahoma job.
Okay.
So the only way that I think he leaves the Vols is if Brent Venables is not the answer, cannot continue what Lincoln Riley did as far as winning the Big 12 or into the SEC when they come to the SEC, then if Josh Heupel is winning big with Tennessee and has them in the top 2 or whatever in the East, I could see Oklahoma coming after him then. But that's only if Brent Venables does not succeed.
Because he would have his dream job.
Because think about it.
The
last 2 hires now, it took him a while when Barry Switzer retired, to get it right. Gary Gibbs wasn't the answer. They went through the abyss, the Howard Schnellenberger year. It took Oklahoma a while before they figured out who their head football coach needed to be. And it was Bob Stoops, who they hired with no head coaching experience from the University of Florida in 1997. Okay?
Right.
So, but when you look at Oklahoma's history of hiring head coaches, that's usually how they've done it. And so, because Barry Switzer didn't have head coaching experience. But I'll just say, I think I do think Venables, you know how long Venables waited. He's kind of like Kirby Smart, waited until he got the absolute perfect opportunity to be a head coach. I think he'll do a good job, so that job timing-wise probably won't come open for Heupel.
Right.
And if he wins big at Tennessee, they will pay. Okay? They've always paid. They're paying their basketball coach, Tony Vitello, when he can control his anger. He's making $1.5 million with the baseball program. Okay? They're going to pay in athletics. So I do think Josh Heupel will stay. I don't think he'll leave. I don't see him doing the Lincoln Riley and bailing out and wanting to go out to a soft league where he thinks he can win because he's scared to death, because that's basically what happened to the SEC. I don't see Heupel doing that, and he's off to a promising start. Now, we have to see if he can continue it. See, the hardest thing to do to me is to take that jump and be consistent year in and year out, and it's been very tough at Tennessee. And with Billy Napier at Florida, it's going to get harder. I still think Billy Napier is someone to watch very closely. What he did at Louisiana was remarkable, and I still think he's going to get Florida right. Now, I don't think they'll win the division this year, but I think by year 3, Billy Napier and Florida are going to be right up there with Kirby Smart.
Should Kentucky give Mark Stoops the lifetime
I'm glad you brought that up. He's already a lifer there if he wants to be.
Right.
It just depends on what does Mark Stoops want to do. He's another one that would probably be on the short list at Oklahoma if Venables didn't do well. But, Mark Stoops could have already gone to Florida State, and he told him to fly a kite because he didn't believe in their administration. So think about that. He stayed at Kentucky instead of going to Florida State with all those recruiting advantages because he didn't believe in the infrastructure around him. We're going there. And he believed in Kentucky more because he's got Mitch Barnhart, a really good athletic director. I know Jeff from the Borough is probably listening to this and just nodding his head. But, yeah, Mitch Barnhart's a great AD. Kentucky spent a ton of money on their facilities. And, again, if Mark Stoops wins 8 or 9 games a year at Kentucky, he will never get fired. Do you understand? Never.
Right.
Ever. Now, and then if he continues to sprinkle in 10-win seasons, good Lord. I mean, think about it. I think he's already making near $5 million a year. I mean, he's received several raises at Kentucky. So he is a lifer there if he wants to be. No question about that.
All right, let's get a break in. 256-576-4977. You want to get in on the discussion this morning, feel free. The Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline is open for you. Conversation continues after the break.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck in Morgan County now. Mount Zion Road, south of Nat Key. Single vehicle hit a tree there. That one may have some injury involved. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Find your rhythm, feed your rhythm at Rhythm on Monroe. Not just a great restaurant and rooftop bar, but the perfect spot to relax and take in a beautiful scenic downtown sunset on the rooftop or patio. Enjoy Chef Becky Fibbert's fresh and delicious fan favorites like braised beef short rib sliders, seasonally inspired fresh salmon dishes, crispy Brussels sprouts, and fresh baked peach walnut cobbler or chocolate chess pie. Open daily at 4 p.m. with brunch from 11 to 3 on Saturday and Sunday on the corner of Clinton and Monroe in the Von Braun Center. Follow Rhythm on Monroe on Facebook.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your insulation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on 2 services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
And now a small business setback. Set to smooth jazz.
It's late. You're driving in the rain with only one thing on your mind. The deer about to total your HVAC van. But with Progressive's 30-plus customizable coverage options, you're covered. The rest is just saxophone.
When running your small business gets rough, Progressive Commercial is there to smooth it out. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Twinkly sound.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage and discounts not available for all vehicles or states. Policy terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford back again to talk to you about how easy it is to make a custom factory order. Just click WoodyAndersonFord.com, hit the top banner, then start making your selections. It's really simple, and you'll end up with the exact vehicle you want. Not only is there no extra charge to custom order, but at Woody Anderson Ford, we'll take 5% off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on the 2022 F-150, Bronco Sport, Explorer, Expedition, and Ranger. Another option for you is a certified pre-owned. We have over 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified are low mileage, gently used with great warranties. They've passed a 175-point inspection by certified technicians and come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Also, don't forget our service department is offering a free pickup and delivery when it's time for your next Ford service. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan at Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN Zone. And you mentioned it earlier.
Oh, Lord.
Here it is.
Hey, I'm Coach O. I just love my Hummer. I believe the Hummer is the best vehicle on the road. Big, tough, aggressive, and it represents everything that we want at Ole Miss. I have my Hummer. You need a Hummer. Tell them about it, JoJo.
Mississippi, they are here. The new Rogers Dabbs H3 Hummers are here.
The folks at Rogers Dabbs Hummer are first-team players. Come see them.
Rogers Dabbs and Hummer like nothing else. New H3 starting at just $32,000.
Love it.
There you go. The Ed Orgeron. How many times can he say Hummer in one commercial?
I don't know. Oh, Lord. And then, of course, who could forget Colonel Rebus crying by the end of that, coming out of the great city of Memphis, Tennessee. And that was when Ed Orgeron basically was about done as Ole Miss coach, and everybody knew it. And, wow. I mean, it was bad. Coach O was, if it wasn't for the 14, or excuse me, I didn't give him enough credit, 15-0 season at LSU, this would not be pretty, his head coaching career. But it's interesting that he did speak to Notre Dame.
I was going to say, that does lead us into the fact that, okay, so Brian Kelly makes the move from Notre Dame to LSU. Marcus Freeman, who Ed Orgeron and Brian Kelly both tried to hire at LSU.
Yeah, he could have gone to LSU before he went to Notre Dame, yes.
So, and Ed Orgeron wanted him at LSU. Then Brian Kelly tried to get him at LSU. Marcus Freeman stays the head coach at Notre Dame.
Right.
Ed Orgeron, with his sons nonetheless, who want to get into coaching, go to Notre Dame this past week, and they observe spring practice. And Ed Orgeron tells everybody there at South Bend, what a great coaching staff you have. Some of the best players in the country are right here in this group. I don't know when it's going to happen, but with this staff, this team, you're going to win it all, is what he tells Notre Dame.
Yeah. I like Matt Moscona myself. Like, Notre Dame fan, you're the problem. That's why you haven't won something in 35-plus years, bro. Or however many it is. It's so many I've lost count. 1988.
Ed Orgeron did say that Marcus Freeman ultimately ended up at defensive coordinator at Notre Dame instead of going to LSU. And Coach O himself said it best. He said it looks like he made the right decision to me. Because Ed Orgeron's unemployed. Marcus Freeman is the head coach at Notre Dame. Brian Kelly, though, has made some statements, though, at LSU that almost leaves you to garner that Brian Kelly has to win it all at LSU now.
Oh, he does. I don't think there's any doubt. He left Notre Dame after getting them close, 2012, before they had to scrimmage Alabama and get whacked, when, with the imaginary girlfriend at middle linebacker. And then
last week he essentially blamed, Brian Kelly?
Yeah.
Essentially blamed Notre Dame.
Yeah, in their academic
supposed
standards.
lack of resources
resources
on his inability to win big games.
Yep. I mean, and that's why he left. Look, you wouldn't leave Notre Dame if it was considered still the epicenter of college football to go to LSU. As great a job as LSU is, but LSU's in the middle of a fertile recruiting ground. They will spend money like no other. Just like Alabama, just like Texas, just like they're going to be in the top 3 to 4 to 5 in spending. Notre Dame can do that, but they choose not to. And again, it's just the fact that it's South Bend, Indiana. It's freezing cold, And I still say this. I still say Notre Dame not joining a conference hurts them. I think they should join a conference. I really do. I know they have this unbelievable deal. They get all this money from NBC because NBC was stupid enough to sign them.
But they're going to tell you it doesn't because they've made the playoffs twice.
Well, did they win? Did they even come close?
No, but you look at the other college football teams.
There's
a lot of football teams that would trade Notre Dame getting to the playoffs twice.
There's a lot of programs that would take Notre Dame's success. There's no doubt about
Notre Dame's going to say, why should we join a conference?
But they're supposed to beat Notre Dame. Blah, blah, blah. You either a change or adapt or you get left behind. Look at what Oklahoma and Texas are doing. Notre Dame should either be in the ACC or the Big Ten. Okay? One of the two, they need to be in those leagues to help elevate them and then give them, I think, a better chance at getting to the playoff and having success.
The Big Ten, the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just think overall that they would, if they were in a conference each and every year, they would have a better shot at getting to the playoff, maybe even more frequently, and perhaps their university would spend a little bit more money. And think about it though. They just gave a guy the head coaching job at Notre Dame. It may be a home run. He may do an outstanding job. But my Lord, man, he's never been a head coach ever. And they gave him the head coach job after 1 year as a defensive coordinator.
Marcus Freeman.
Yes. Marcus Freeman's a great young coach, I think, but can he do it at Notre Dame? You would think Notre Dame would go out and get an established guy instead of promoting from within. I mean, it's Notre Dame, right? So that's why I'm saying I don't buy into the hype. I think Notre Dame is, for a long time, has been an overrated program. I think Brian Kelly did a much better job than he's been given credit for because it's not easy to win there. Because of the academic standards, because of freezing cold, and because these morons won't get into a conference. I'll say this, Notre Dame would never come into the SEC, ever, because they'd get the ever-loving hell beat out of them. They would be a middle-of-the-road program and never reach the playoff. Do you understand what I'm saying? Never.
I don't know. Look at this. I mean, they've accomplished more in the last 10 years than what Texas has.
Because they have not been in the SEC. If Notre Dame had been in the SEC, Brian Kelly's fired already, man. No way.
I'm saying if they made the move to the SEC, they would have more accomplishments in the last 10 years than what Texas has coming into the league right now. And, I mean, what do we think about Texas coming into the SEC?
Well, Texas has got more resources than anyone. If they could ever get out of their own way, they could have a chance to make a run in the SEC. We'll see if they can. But, again, they have the climate, they've got a great city, they've got a lot of inherent things around their program that if you could find the right person to stir the drink, it could be unbelievable. At Notre Dame, I'm sorry, man, Newt Rockne ain't walking through that door, okay? A lot has changed over the landscape in the 30-plus years since they won a national championship, okay? They're still a very good program, but they're not an elite program. And, again, they could not compete in the SEC. No way.
We'll take a drive down to Baton Rouge. Sonny Shipp will join us. We'll talk more about this Brian Kelly comments. We'll talk more about LSU spring game, baseball, and other stuff with the LSU Tigers and Sonny Shipp next.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning from the traffic center. Sounds like that wreck down in Morgan County, Mount Zion, south of Nat Key, is going to end up being an injury type. Single vehicle hit a tree there. Everything else seems to be clear. You bumper to bumper, though, on all those inbound routes. Heat and air on the blink, pay only a service charge, never a diagnostic fee. At D&L Refrigeration, 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
In the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Not a bad Tuesday afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Going to be just a touch on the chilly end of the spectrum, especially when you consider the fact that we are getting into the later part of April. Temperatures only climbing into the lower 60s, but under a mostly sunny sky. Temperatures drop into the low 40s as we head into the overnight. A little more cloud cover for your Wednesday, but temperatures are going to begin to climb. Highs hanging out in the mid and upper 60s. Some of us could see the lower 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
The PGA Tour in New Orleans this week for the Zurich Classic. The team of Victor Hovland and Colin Morikawa, the co-favorites, along with Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele, both teams at plus 800. Mark Leishman and Cameron Smith at plus 900. Braves and Dodgers game 2 tonight. Atlanta plus 135 money line. LA minus 165. The over-under at 8. Max Fried getting the start for the Braves against Walker Buehler. NBA, the East first round continues with the Hawks at the Heat tonight. Atlanta a 7-point underdog, the over-under 219. In the West, the Timberwolves and Grizzlies with Memphis a 7-point favorite in Game 2, the over-under at 241. And the Pelicans a 9.5-point road underdog in Game 2 against the Suns, 221.5 the set total.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There we go. We've got the ball on the tee, and we are ready to kick off hour 2 of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. What a Tuesday it has been so far. And to end hour 1, we were just kind of talking some LSU football. Brian Kelly and Ed Orgeron, it's just kind of filling in everything. But Brian Kelly will have his first spring game as an LSU head coach this coming weekend. And quarterback race going on there. A lot of stuff going on, though, in Baton Rouge.
There is, no doubt. And our next guest is an expert when it comes to LSU athletics. He's a big part of Go 24/7, part of the 24/7 Sports Networks. He covers recruiting. He also covers the beat, and we always enjoy our conversations with Sonny Shipp, and he's joined us once again this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Sonny, welcome back to Huntsville here on Talkin' Ball. You're with Drew and Scott. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, fellas. But man, you can't throw around that expert word too often with me. Okay, I've been doing this for way too long to where I've forgotten way more than I know.
Well,
wait, no, it's the other way around.
Well, hey, man, that's why we have you on, man. You've been around it for so long, and you've got your finger on the pulse of LSU. We talked about the spring game coming up, the first one for Brian Kelly, 1 o'clock on Saturday, presented by Tony Sachers. I mean, how has this spring gone? I mean, what's the buzz coming out of LSU? There's been so much portaling going on, and what I mean by that is LSU, Ole Miss. Alabama's added key pieces, but LSU and Ole Miss have been very aggressive in the portal, and LSU had to be because what we've seen now with the climate, with NIL, with the transfer portal, when you have a coaching change, there is a ton of turnover.
Yeah, and what you see right now with LSU, you mentioned the transfer portal. We saw the depth situation the way that it was, against Kansas State in the Texas Bowl.
Right.
And over the past week and a half, you've seen that depth rear its ugly head again. LSU at the open practice that they had on Saturday, I want to say that Matthew Bruni and we counted, it was either between 14 and 16 scholarship players that were not available for that practice. Mm-hmm. And so, when you take that amount out, and then when you figure they still got 6 or 7, from the early other class, from the 2022 class who's going to be there in June, that's about 20 scholarship players that they're down right now from that, from really not even being at that 85 number yet. So that's kind of been the talk, and I think that's going to be the theme that people see on Saturday from the spring game. They're not going to be able to split it up into 2 teams. Brian Kelly said that they're going to have to split it up into offense and defense. It's going to be one of those weird spring games where the defense scores points, and by this time next year, we'll finally figure out, that's how the score ended up like it did.
Well, a lot of people want to know, we talk about the transfer portal. Obviously, after spring, it could be guys going in, and LSU could be still a player with guys getting out of the portal. What about Keyshawn Butte? What do we know about him?
Keyshawn Butte, he was there on Saturday. He hasn't worked out or anything yet this spring. He was still in the walking boot. But I tell you what, man, when you think about a kid who's been out as long as he has with that foot injury, he's someone who really benefited and took advantage of it in the weight room, because you wouldn't recognize him if you saw him in the upper body, in the chest and the shoulder area, and his arms. I mean, he's got some guns right now. He's not a little bitty old slot receiver like we saw running around there as a freshman in a little bit of last year. And so, but he's still there right now. Everything that we hear is that he'll be here. He's gonna play for LSU. In what will likely be his junior year. But, we saw a taste of the transfer portal yesterday, and I think, you guys alluded to it. There's going to be more people enter the transfer portal. It just happens. It happens after their coaching change. These kids will now have had 15 practices. A week from now, they will have had 15 practices to get a taste of what the coaches are like, to see how they coach, see where they stack up on the depth chart. So we'll see some more attrition. You just hope it's not too much, because LSU has 3 more spots that they could use on the transfer portal. But you already had Corey Kiner, who left yesterday. I'm sure you'll have a few more who will depart too. So, I don't think LSU will be at that 85. By the time the fall rolls around. But I do think they could be in those high 70s to 80 number, where if they can keep the injuries from affecting them as much as they did last year, it should still allow them to do what they need to do.
And we're talking to Sonny Ship, Go 24/7, GEAUX 24/7, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. I guess, what's the biggest storyline? Is it the quarterback battle in spring right now?
It's the one that everybody really talks about. It's the one that everyone's really focused on. But, I don't think there's really any clarity. I don't think there's going to be any clarity that's really been gained from it. Based off of what we got to see on Saturday, and granted that was only the second full practice that we've been able to view since Jared DiNardo has been roaming the sidelines at LSU. And, what I saw on Saturday is, I mentioned this on my board, I liked what I saw from Miles Brennan. I thought he was quick. I thought he was decisive. We saw some passes that he made and some of the highlights that are circulating on social media. But to me, the biggest difference that I've seen so far is that Miles Brennan is looking to push the ball down the field, and whereas Jaden Daniels, if something's not there, he's taking off and he's running. And that can help you, and that can hurt you if you take off and if you run too fast. So I really think this quarterback battle is going to go into the fall. If you're an LSU fan, I think the quarterback position is the one that you circle and that you say, okay, we don't want to see any attrition at this spot right here. That's the one you put off to the side, and you hope you don't see any attrition at for these guys coming up who we talked about, who may look for a fresh start somewhere now that the spring will have ended.
And then the running back room, you talked about Corey Kiner, a freshman last year who saw some action for LSU going into the portal. Where does the running back room stand right now for LSU?
Yeah, and I think this is a perfect case of when Noah Cain announced that he was transferring from Penn State. Mm-hmm. Everyone kind of looked at it like, well, wow, that's a kind of an odd transfer right there. If you look at LSU's running back room, you had John Emery, Armani Goodwin, Corey Kiner, Trey Bradford just retransferred back from Oklahoma. You have Josh Williams, a guy who's gotten a good bit of carries as a backup over the last 2 years. And so you kind of scratch your head like, okay, why does LSU need a 6th scholarship running back in that running back room? And now we see why. Anytime you have that change and anytime you have that turnover, you have some guys who might start looking to kind of get back a little bit closer to home, especially when they're as far away as Corey Kiner is. And that's what he did, man. I mean, like an hour after he announced he was in the portal, then he followed that up with, I'm going home to Cincinnati. So that's a good get for the Bearcats and Luke Fickell. And, from LSU's perspective, I don't think it's going to hurt them too much unless you have someone like a John Emery who goes down and gets hurt. But, I think LSU's running back room, if there's a position that you could handle some attrition at right now, it would be the running back position. And then on the flip side of that, the position that you're looking to add someone at, you really need at least one more cornerback, and you really need to try to find a tight end out there to be able to run the kind of offense that Mike Denbrock and Brian Kelly have run in the past.
Well, usually when we talk LSU in the past, the last couple of years it's changed, but it's been defense with LSU, especially in the SEC. You mentioned the spring game. It's going to be offense versus that defense. How are they looking on that side of the ball?
Defensively, up front, they should be pretty solid and right on the verge of being strong. I think B.J. Ojulari is going to really flourish in that jack linebacker spot in Matt House's defense. You look at the rest of the defensive front. The first team so far most of the spring has been Ali Gay at the other end, and then Jaquelin Roy and Mason Smith inside. You've got three
some talent
really good
there.
Yeah, some talent there, and then you've got two pretty good linebackers. I think you got Micah Baskerville coming back for another year. You have Mike Jones Jr., who really, I think the light really kind of started to come on last year around that Alabama game and over the back half of the season. And then you have Greg Penn the third, who played last year, is another guy that they're really excited about. The biggest question mark on defense is going to be in that secondary. Jarek Bernard Converse, the Oklahoma State transfer, he got hurt about 2 weeks ago. He's out till June with a foot injury. And so LSU, with Ray Darius Jones out, another reserve cornerback, they've even had to play a walk-on on the first team at cornerback. And when they go to 5 and 6 defensive backs some here lately. So that tells you right there that's going to be the question mark. If everybody can stay healthy and you don't have any significant injuries, I think the secondary can be good. But there's going to be, there's always going to be in the back of your mind, you're going to be saying we really can't afford any injuries at cornerback.
And going into the season, even after this coming Saturday, Sonny, what are the expectations in year one for Brian Kelly? Of course, we were talking about this in hour one, that really, to leave Notre Dame, he really needs to win a national championship. He didn't feel like that he had enough resources or could get ultimately the talent at Notre Dame to put him over the top to win it all that he can at LSU. It's already been proven under 3 different head coaches since 2003 in the Bayou. But what are the expectations in year one? To me, they're they're the most polarizing team in the West because new head coach, new staff, and then so much turnover on the roster. They could be a very good football team in year one, or they could be a year where they're trying to establish, a different kind of culture and a different kind of and for Brian Kelly to put his stamp on LSU football. Where does it stand for you?
Well, I'm gonna pull a Coach O right here, and I'm gonna flip the script on you guys. And I want to hear what do you think? What do you, if you're putting a win total on LSU in 2022? What do you think you'd go with?
Well, I would think you'd have to go 7 wins.
Well, I'm more than that. I think if Keyshawn Butte is healthy, and if Miles Brennan, who I think people forget before he had the lower the abdominal type injury and things. Yeah, I mean, he was throwing for 400 yards per game. Now, it's a different offense, but still, Brian Kelly's offense is very quarterback friendly. I think if they get the running game going too with Emory, remember Emory didn't play last year and is a former 5-star talent. I still think that this could be a 9-win team for LSU to me. But they're going to have some guys step up. They're going to have to add some pieces in the portal still over the summer, Sonny. But I still think it could be a team that could potentially be in the top 3 in the West.
I go more towards the 9 than I do the 7-win spectrum. And the biggest reason for that,
and I love the D-line too, by the way.
Yeah, and the biggest reason that I'm more optimistic now is that knowing that there are still some areas that they have to address, there are still some holes that they have to fill, but Brian Kelly has changed so much of the organizational structure and the culture at LSU, and the players have seemingly bought in more quicker than I thought that they would, with such drastic changes coming in, to where he has changed the things that affect the game outside the line so much more quickly.
Yeah.
To where, I was looking at that 7 and saying, yeah, maybe 8, but I'm with you now. I think that if this team continues to progress the way that it has, if the offensive line continues to get to that conditioning level that it needs to get at, and there's not a musical chair situation with the quarterbacks where you're flipping from one to the other to where, one strength is the other one's biggest weakness, and it's just really hard for the offense to find a rhythm. I think that this team could surprise some people in the West. And, I saw that someone had LSU ranked as high as number 11 in their, early preseason poll. I think that's way too high. You know, I think that, you know, I think you got to earn that. I mean, if you want to put them in the top 25 just off of history and what they've done in the past and Brian Kelly, that's fine. But it needs to be pretty close to that 25 number for me to start the season. But if the things fall in place, you know, if the things fall in place on the field that have fallen in place off the field with them addressing the transfer portal, changing so much of the culture, getting everybody on the same page so quickly, I think this team can surprise some people too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's good stuff from Sonny Ship. And Sonny, to kind of pivot here, there's been a lot going on, though, in a couple other sports at LSU, and that's, of course, basketball and baseball. Basketball, a completely new roster. You're talking about the end of the Will Wade era, Matt McMahon coming in. He started to add pieces. That I will say this, they are a true wild card in basketball. We won't know until really the season gets underway what kind of team LSU is going to have, but you're certainly going to need a program.
Yeah, and when you talk about questions and uncertainty, I mean, there's so much uncertainty with the roster.
Yeah.
You know, they only have half a roster right now. There's so much uncertainty on what they're going to even be playing for, what they're going to have to play for, what numbers they're going to have to play for. Man, basketball, you know, being that the season just ended, it's almost like down here on the bayou right now that basketball is the last thing people want to even talk about or think about.
I could see that,
you know?
yeah.
And then to compound that worse, your baseball team goes up to Fayetteville and gets swept and, you know, basically knocked out of the top 25 to where now people are questioning Jay Johnson coming over from Arizona and stuff. So everyone's looking at spring football right now and saying, okay, let's hinge our hopes on something that's positive right now.
Yeah, let's talk about baseball for just a second. Rough trip there to Fayetteville, as you kind of alluded to.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know, and LSU's problems. I mean, you can look at the stats in the SEC and see how many errors they've made and how bad they are at fielding. But that doesn't even begin to tell the story. You know, you go back to that Arkansas game, and there were several plays that could have easily been errors that were ruled hits, and it's really mind-boggling. You know, everyone kind of, the talk around here is how can you have such a, you know, a potent hitting team, a team that could be very, very good, but yet struggle so badly in the clutch when you're talking about guys like Trey Morgan, Dylan Cruz, Jordan Berry, you know, the list goes on right there. But then, you know, compounding that is that when you're not getting those clutch hits and then you're making, you know, you're not making the easy plays, there's just there's a lot that team has to improve on, but you kind of wonder if your fielding is something that you can really make that much of a drastic improvement in this point in the season, you know?
And, Sonny, it's really crazy. The SEC is such a meat grinder because they went to Starkville and just played really well and got a sweep and win 13-3 on Sunday, and they look dominant. And then you go to Arkansas and you get humbled.
Yeah, and Arkansas, and let's not forget, you know, this is a team now that's number 2 in the country.
Oh, they are. You may have, Tennessee and Arkansas are the two best teams in America, really.
Right. And so there's going to be a lot, you know, that LSU probably won't be the last team that Arkansas sweeps this year.
No.
But, you know, you hoped when you went to Starkville and you got that sweep, and then you came back and you're like, okay, now you're going up to Arkansas. Man, if you could somehow win this series, you really got some momentum going in the SEC.
Yeah.
But then all of that momentum that you took from Starkville and you brought to Fayetteville, now is still up there. So now it's almost like, you know, this team has found its groove a little bit in a short stretch, but then lost it just as quickly as it found it. And the same thing has happened over again. So what it really has to do is it has to find its groove, but it has to keep some of that momentum. You know, 5-5 in your last 10 games at this point in the SEC, you know, that spells middle of the road, and that's exactly where this team is right now. But hey, it's only one game out of second place in the West.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Everything's a log jam
to play for.
Yeah, they certainly do. It's the best league in the country and the best division in all of college baseball, no doubt. Well, Sonny, man, we always appreciate the insight. You do a great job. You've done it for many, many years covering the purple and gold of LSU. Let everybody know how to follow you guys and your coverage over there at Go 24/7.
Yeah, come check us out. We always got the free trial going to where you can, or the special going where you can get your first month for $1. And like I tell people all the time, man, even if you got that, if you're an Alabama fan and you got an LSU fan, go, hell, buy them an Alabama subscription or something, you know, help out the network.
Absolutely, man. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Sonny.
it.
Guys, y'all have a great day.
All right, let's get that break in when we come back. Hey, we're going to travel across and talk SEC East. Georgia football. They had their spring game over the weekend. What went on inside Sanford Stadium?
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
Braves and Dodgers game 2 tonight. Atlanta plus 135 money line. LA minus 165. The over-under at 8. Max Fried getting the start for the Braves against Walker Buehler. NBA, the East first round continues with the Hawks at the Heat tonight. Atlanta a 7-point underdog. The over-under 219. In the West, the Timberwolves and Grizzlies with Memphis a 7-point favorite in Game 2, the over-under at 241, and the Pelicans a 9.5-point road underdog in Game 2 against the Suns, 221.5 the set total. The PGA Tour in New Orleans this week for the Zurich Classic. The team of Victor Hovland and Colin Morikawa, the co-favorites, along with Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele, both teams at plus 800. Mark Leishman and Cameron Smith at plus 900.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And now a small business setback. Set to smooth jazz.
It's late. You're driving in the rain with only one thing on your mind. The deer about to total your HVAC van. But with Progressive's 30-plus customizable coverage options, you're covered. The rest is just saxophone.
When running your small business gets rough, Progressive Commercial is there to smooth it out. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Twinkly sound.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage and discounts not available for all vehicles or states. Policy terms and conditions apply.
The world champs are back. The Braves are out to defend their world championship. And behind Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna, Dansby Swanson, Max Fried, and this loaded 2022 roster, a repeat is within reach.
Here goes Ozzie, 2-2 on the way, hit well. Deep center field. Might have ourselves a tie ball game. You betcha.
And we'll bring you every huge moment of the Braves 2022 season right here on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Hey, Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford back again to talk to you about how easy it is to make a custom factory order. Just click WoodyAndersonFord.com, hit the top banner, then start making your selections. It's really simple, and you'll end up with the exact vehicle you want. Not only is there no extra charge to custom order, but at Woody Anderson Ford, we'll take 5% off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on the 2022 F-150, Bronco Sport, Explorer, Expedition, and Ranger. Another option for you is a certified pre-owned. We have over 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified are low mileage, gently used with great warranties. They've passed a 175-point inspection by certified technicians and come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Also, don't forget our service department is offering a free pickup and delivery when it's time for your next Ford service. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan at Sparkman, hope to see you soon.
The PGA Tour's Corn Ferry Tour is coming to the Rocket City. Join us at the Ledges for the Huntsville Championship, April 29th through May 2nd. Experience the beauty and drama of the course firsthand. Witness golf's rising stars chase their PGA Tour dreams. Cheer on the future of golf up close and personal. Tickets are on sale now at HuntsvilleChampionship.com.
The Braves are back, and they're on a mission to defend the East, defend the National League pennant, and defend their world title.
Fly ball hit to deep center field, retreating his script at the track, at the wall. She's gone!
Tonight, two of the National League's best face off at Dodger Stadium in L.A. as Matt Olson and the Braves face off against the Dodgers. Braves Radio goes on the air at 8:55 Eastern, 7:55 Central on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
Good morning from the traffic center. Sounds like that wreck down in Morgan County, Mount Zion south of Nat Key, is going to end up being an injury type. Single vehicle hit a tree there. Everything else seems to be clear. You bumper to bumper, though, on all those inbound routes. Heat and air on the blink, pay only a service charge, never a diagnostic fee. At D&L Refrigeration, 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg.
This is Mike Greenberg. Be sure and download the app today. Just search for 97.7 ESPN and listen to my show every weekday right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to Talking Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Indeed. Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN Zone, 8:28 on a Tuesday morning. We got about 30 more minutes with you on this morning. And we talked a little LSU in that last segment. Georgia and Kirby Smart had around 60,000 for their spring game in Athens on Saturday. The first time since winning the national championship. They were back on the field in front of the fans, full fans, for their spring game. So a good time there at Georgia. A lot has changed with this Bulldog team, but a lot has stayed the same as well.
Well, they had some coaching staff attrition, but that's expected when you win a national championship. They climbed the mountain and win Kirby's first national title. Certainly they're going to retool, but they've recruited at a level. Alabama and Georgia have really been, in the last 6 to 7 to 8 years, the preeminent programs when it comes to building a roster. And so Georgia's still loaded with talent, just going to look a little different. But our next guest can tell us all about that. He's the film guy. He's the lead editor for Dogs Daily, part of Sports Illustrated. We always enjoy our time with our next guest, Brooks Austin. He's with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline to talk some Georgia G-Day today. Brooks, I hope you had a great Easter, man. Thank you for coming back on in Huntsville with Drew and Scott. How are you?
I'm doing well, Drew. Hey, did I hear a little skeptical on that stadium attendance number that was just reported?
Yeah,
did I hear a little skepticism?
Well, no. By far, they had the best spring game attendance so far. I heard it was 69. That's the number. Yeah. That's the number that I was told. 69,000. Was that accurate?
Nice. I know about by the second half, it looked like there was about 30,000 people inside that stadium. But yeah, they you know what? They did a good job. Fans showed up in attendance, and like Kirby Smart said, they did a great job considering the weather. I mean, it wasn't raining all day like it was in Tuscaloosa, it seemed.
Right.
But it definitely rained in that AM portion of the events.
Yeah.
Well, they still
And
had
it
a
was
great
Easter.
crowd, though. They had the best crowd.
And
yeah.
it was Easter weekend as well, too. So considering that, I mean, all in all, it was
I'm
a
giving them
success.
that. They had the best crowd. Coming off a national championship, the enthusiasm's at a fever pitch. What was the headline for you coming at it? Was it Carson Beck's performance? I know you broke that down and broke down the quarterback play. And he's a guy, he's not going to start. We know this is Stetson Bennett's team. Stetson Bennett winning a national title for Georgia. But still, Carson Beck, talk about him and his performance.
I think Carson Beck's performance more so tells me about the development or the ability to be developed without being the starting quarterback. At a Division I program or an SEC program like Georgia, I've for so long thought that it's almost impossible for the quarterback position to develop without actual game reps and playing time. I'm starting to change my opinions on that because of players like Carson. I mean, his progression as an athlete over the last 3 springs or last 2.5 years at Georgia has been rather phenomenal considering he hasn't played. I think 24 career attempts if you check the college football reference at this point right now. So I think that's more so to be said there. I thought he played fantastic. But as far as Stetson goes, man, I saw a quarterback that was making a lot of decisions that say, yeah, I'm the starter around here. I'm going to throw this ball into that window just to see if I can get away with it today. I mean, he was 15 of 35, a rather inefficient day considering it's a guy that, was completing, I think, 64% of balls last year. So a little bit more of a sporadic and even more so aggressive nature from Stetson than even we normally see when I went back and watched it.
And then skill-wise, we know there's a lot of guys that moved on to the NFL. I'm a huge James Cook guy. I still think he's going to be a really good pro. He was my favorite weapon besides Brock Bowers on that Georgia offense. They lose Zamir White, a lot of quality there. But I guess, first of all, give us your thoughts on the Georgia running game because, again, you made a great point of saying there was 91 passes thrown in this G-Day game. They didn't want to beat this team up. They were beat up. That's why they didn't run the ball a lot. They're trying to take a look at these quarterbacks and these receivers, but talk about the running game because we know when fall comes around, that's going to be the backbone of Georgia.
Yeah, 33 attempts on Saturday, and I think they rushed for like 3.7 yards a carry. So, and they were very obvious rushing downs, right? Like running on first down, running on 2nd and 2, running on 3rd and 1, doing things like that. So against pretty rather crowded boxes and without any type of threat or option for a quarterback to keep. So nobody really playing honest on that backside either. So not really an environment that's conducive for a run game. But in terms of Kenny McIntosh and Kendall Milton, and a third in Dejon Edwards that's looking ever so slender. Every time I see him, it looks like he loses some more weight and gets slimmer and more explosive and trimmer. I don't know if you guys definitely don't know this, but or may not. I don't know. Colquitt County's like down there in southeast Georgia. Not a lot of folks get down there and see it. Colquitt County's where Dejon Edwards played, started 4 years. I mean, Dale McGee was on this dude before he was turned 15, before he had a driver's permit. Dale McGee had an O on this kid. So he's been on the radar for a long, long time, but he's walking around at, I would say, 195 pounds. I think he played in high school like 212, like real thick, and has completely changed his body and looks really, really good. Really, really, the making miss ability for Edwards was really impressive. But I think it's still going to be that 1-2 punch with Milton and McIntosh. And all those things that you love about James Cook,
McIntosh.
I feel more comfortable, almost more comfortable that McIntosh can do them because I also know that McIntosh can tote the thing in between the tackles, man. Like I watch him morph into a one-cut back when he's inside the tackles, whereas with James Cook, I felt really, really nervous until like the latter end of his senior year that he was actually a guy that I could give 12, maybe 14 carries to if I had to. And in Kendall Milton's case, man, I'm praying that guy gets a couple of games this year where we get to see him have 22, 23 carries. I think he is Najee Harris. I think he is Le'Veon Bell. I think he is all of these 6'2", 6'3", 227-pound backs that are available in the NFL nowadays that you've seen over the last decade.
Mm-hmm.
We also got to see our first look of Arik Gilbert. We haven't seen him in a long time. A slim down. You mentioned slim down. Slim down version of Arik Gilbert.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, Brooks. This part of it I was not aware of. Scott made me aware of it this morning, that he was tipping the scales at nearly 300 bills. I did not know that before January.
Yeah, I've kind of heard about that back in December, and we can kind of keep it quiet. I mean, I'm a man that struggled with some weight issues.
Oh yeah, everybody. Yeah, I dig it. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been kind of known in these circles, and I was actually shocked that it's clear that Kirby Smart gave Tessitore and the ESPN crew green lights to that information. Like,
right.
You could say that out loud. But, yeah, he was up north of 300 pounds, and by the start of spring, he'd been back down to 265. Look, I'll tell you this much. You can do Weight Watchers. You can do all that stuff. Go run with them boys up at Georgia. You're going to cut whatever weight you got going on. They run the ever-loving you-know-what out of them boys up there in Athens, man. Like, every kid, like, especially the thin ones, they have problems keeping weight on. So
you just talked about Juwan Edwards. Yeah, there you go.
Dejon Edwards. I mean, they all have, like, look at their corners. Kamari Lassiter, Dalen Everett, Nyland Green. These are guys that have been in the program for 6 months plus, and they've gained very little weight. It's because they run so much there. They are very, very well conditioned, which means if you are carrying additional weight, you're going to cut it rather quickly. He looked to me like he was, about 255-ish on Saturday, and I saw him right before spring practice started, so about a month and a half ago, and if you told me he was 275, I wouldn't have been shocked. So it's shedding really, really quickly on him this spring and this offseason, and that's a testament to his hard work, but it's also, look at the bodies around there, man. They're all wiry, thin, and super strong, but not carrying a lot of fat.
Well, how did he look then, game-wise? I mean, we haven't seen him on the field. He had a cup some cat, but how did he look? And what does his future look like with this team?
Yeah, so I think he's 10 pounds away from not even being in the box anymore. To be honest with you, like, I don't think that's what he's made to do. He's very akin to Brock Bowers in the sense that I don't want my best weapon or one of my best weapons bothering around blocking 5 techniques, 9 techniques, outside backers, linebackers. I don't need it. Why? Because we have so many other bodies that we can do that with, right? Brett Seither handled the blocking roles really, really well. And if you haven't watched Georgia over the last couple of years, they always got a Brett Seither. His name has been Charlie Warner. His name has been John Fitzpatrick. His name has been, all these 3rd, 4th tight ends that just go in there and beat their face against defensive linemen. They need one of those. So Arik Gilbert doesn't have to be one of them. He can eventually split out into the slot and turn into what I call a super slot, which is what football has moved more towards, right? It's what Travis Kelce is in the NFL. It's what Evan Ingram was drafted so highly to be out of Ole Miss. It's what Orson Charles could have been coming out of the University of Georgia. It's what people were betting on O.J. Howard to be coming out of Alabama. Those types of weapons that are too big to be covered by corners, too fast to be covered by linebackers, and too impossible to tackle an open field when the ball's in their hands. That's what these guys are. And they got a third one in Oscar Delp, who's just a puppy.
Mm-hmm. I know. Certainly Brock Bowers is his biggest weapon on this team. Before we talk a little defense, though, tell me about the wide receiver room. They've got to replace Jermaine Burton, who was a big part of the offense the last 2 years, and, of course, George Pickens. Pickens, of course, injuries played a big part of him not being a huge factor a season ago. Where does the wide receiver room stand right now?
Yes, I mean, Kirby said they got 2. They got 2 SEC receivers, and it's Lad McConkey and it's A.D. Mitchell.
Those 2, yep.
I seem to believe they have a little bit more. I think Marcus Rosemy-Jackson's incredibly talented. Jackson Meeks out of Phoenix City, Alabama, showed a good little couple flashes this spring as well. And Dominic Blaylock appears to be back. Like, this
you really hope so for that kid's sake. I mean, he's gone through a lot.
You do, man. Like, busted the knee up and tore the ACL freshman year after – I think he put up 386 yards as a true freshman and really didn't start any games, kind of came on in a backup role. I think he had 5 touchdowns as a true freshman and then, looks to be the guy against LSU because George Pickens has this little fight with a brick wall and a Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket. And then next thing you know, Dominic Blaylock has 4 catches in the first half and pop goes the ACL on a non-contact injury. Rehabs really, really hard. Comes back the next fall, 8 months later, is ready to rock. They clear him, or close to clear him, and the first day of really running routes full speed pops it again and sits out a whole another year. And then now we are here, right? So, and he looks to be returning, right? He looks to be a guy that appears to be on the rise, or at least returning to somewhat of form. I don't know if he'll ever be this is a guy that in high school, guys, was running like 3.99 in the shuttle. Like, you run sub-4, you're one of the shiftiest and most explosive short area athletes on the planet. He was one of these guys. I don't know if that ever returns to form. But here, this is a long answer about that wide receiver room. They got a lot of guys. But they're going to be a 12 and 13 personnel football team next year. They don't need a lot of receivers.
Yeah.
They're going to live. They are going to make you, as a defense, play a traditional 3-4 set. All these college football teams are so accustomed to living in nickel personnel, right? Living in 5 DBs on the field. Heck, if Alabama and Georgia could, they play 6 DBs if you allow them to. That's what they want to do. Look at who they recruit. They want to cover, get after the quarterback. Georgia's not going to allow you to do that next year. Georgia's going to force you to play 9 guys within 14 yards of the ball. And then they're going to have all of these guys the next play go empty on you because they can. It's going to be a tough look next year.
Well, is this team going to be more dangerous than offensively than what we saw in this national championship run?
They better be. They're going to have to be. They lived on a historic defense last year, one of the best defenses we've seen in the last 20 years of college football. I would put them up with that 02, 03 Hurricanes range and that 11 to 13 Alabama range defensively. I mean, those are the 3 best defensive regimes we've seen in the last 2 decades of college football. I highly doubt they're going to be that good this year, so they're going to have to score more points. And last year they scored 38.6 points per game, 6th in the country. I don't think it's ridiculous to say Georgia puts up 40 a game this year, because they're going to have to. They're not going to win every game by 28.6 points per game, I think it was, last year. They smoked most of their schedule. So it's not going to be like that next year, I would imagine. They're going to have to put up some points.
Well, Brooks, the last couple of questions for me. First, where does Amarius Mims fit into this offensive line now that he's returned?
I'm always honest when I get asked these questions. I think I know a lot of information about the University of Georgia. Amarius Mims is aloof when it comes to information as anybody up there. That's like asking me what Kirby Smart's favorite meal is. I don't know. The information around Amarius does not get out. So what I'll tell you is that when I watch a kid enter the portal, visit a school, talk to several others, and then come back, I think that tells me more about what he saw than what he heard about what was coming, what was available to him if he returns, right? I don't think anything changed at the University of Georgia when Amarius Mims decides to come back. I think it was more like, oh, you want to come back? Yeah, we got a spot for you. That's fine. It's right where you were, which is the backup right tackle and the backup left tackle if anyone gets hurt. And if you don't want to play guard, or if you can't play guard, then you're not going to play guard, so you're going to wait your turn at tackle. We're not going to bend to any demands because you hit the portal. We were willing to let you walk, and we'll be willing to let you wait if you don't want to play guard. I think that, and I said this on my show the other day, I think that's the magic of Nick Saban. The last 3 or 4 really, really, really high-end 3-and-done type of 5-star tackles, he somehow convinced some jokers to go play guard. Alex Leatherwood playing guard, Evan Neal playing guard, J.C. Latham playing guard, and then bump it out to playing tackle and being top 10 picks like that, or top first-round picks. That is a skill set and a culture development in a world of college football where I'm a 3-and-done player. If I don't play my second year, I got to go. That is the mentality of all of these young men nowadays, and rightfully so.
Mm-hmm. And then defensively, you talked about it was a generational defense, led by Jordan Davis a year ago, Nakobe Dean, so many great players, and neither one of those guys may be the first pick in the NFL draft is how good this Georgia defense was, of course. But how good can this defense be, and what's the strength of it?
Ooh, the strength is probably the top end. They're real top-heavy so far this spring, right? It's the Nolan Smiths, the Jalen Carters. I think Jamon Dumas Johnson is an answer and a known factor at inside backer despite not having a career start. I think Chris Smith and Dan Jackson are known factors in that back end. I think William Poole and Kamari Lassiter are ballers. So what's that, like 6 players? They got 5 question marks. One of them is going to be answered by Zion Logue, but he's not going to be anything that you had last year in terms of Jordan Davis. Georgia led the nation in rushing yards allowed per game the last 2.5 seasons per game. Like, if you just look at the numbers, and those last 2.5 seasons directly equate to Jordan Davis being the starting nose tackle. He ate so much space that it kept everybody else so free for so long, and it masked so many mistakes. They're not going to have that this year. They got Logue, who's a really, really good football player. He's going to play on Sundays, but he's not that true zero that they've had. So they're going to have to change things schematically. I think they're much, much bigger internally, right? Like, they got a defensive end right now in Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins, who started for the first team unit during G-Day. That dude's like 6'4", 295. Like, he's a big guy playing defensive end. I think that's what you're going to see. You're going to see much more of a rotation internally, and you're going to see a lot more experimentation as well. And if the young guys like Michael Williams and Jalen Walker can add any type of pass rush presence, it's going to be needed, because that's what they don't have right now. I feel confident in 2 guys rushing the passer, and that's Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter. Last year, I think they had 7 to start the season.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, no doubt. Well, Brooks, man, you do an outstanding job. We could sit here and talk for another hour and pick your brain about Georgia football and going into the defending their title in 2022. But let everybody know how to follow all your coverage, which, of course, is breaking down the film of Georgia G-Day, but also recruiting at Dogs Daily.
Yeah, you can check me out on Twitter at BrooksAustinSI, and you can check our articles out on dogsdaily.com. And, I'm over on YouTube as well. Just search the Film Guy Network over there, and you'll find anything you need. Appreciate you guys. Y'all get back to talking some ball, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Let's get that final break in. Tomorrow's headlines today when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Find your rhythm, feed your rhythm at Rhythm on Monroe. Not just a great restaurant and rooftop bar, but the perfect spot to relax and take in a beautiful scenic downtown sunset on the rooftop or patio. Enjoy Chef Becky Vibbert's fresh and delicious fan favorites like braised beef short rib sliders, seasonally inspired fresh salmon dishes, crispy Brussels sprouts, and fresh baked peach walnut cobbler or chocolate chess pie. Open daily at 4 p.m. with brunch from 11 to 3 on Saturday and Sunday on the corner of Clinton and Monroe in the Von Braun Center. Follow Rhythm on Monroe on Facebook.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
Since 1935, Roto-Rooter plumbers have been trusted and recommended as the premier provider of plumbing and drain cleaning services in Huntsville. Available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Roto-Rooter is here for you. Emergency service, water heaters, plumbing and drains, and water damage. If you need plumbing services, contact the one name to know, Roto-Rooter. Schedule now at rotorooter.com/HuntsvilleAL.
Call Roto-Rooter, that's the name, and away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Had a wreck reported 565 eastbound your county line. Looking at that area, it looks like traffic's moving okay. Had an injury type indicator, 6th Avenue just north of the Beltline, and one on Mount Zion Road in Morgan County, south of Nat Key Road. That one reported with injuries. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Former Auburn quarterback Demetrius Davis has himself a new home. Demetrius Davis transferring to Alabama State. Just down the road, I should say, from Auburn there. So Demetrius Davis has a new home. And Ajay Hall says he enjoyed his Texas visit.
Well, I mean, that's Sark's decision, man. If he thinks he can reach Ajay Hall, and certainly he was there at Alabama when they recruited the young man. He's already took Jaleel Billingsley and is going to try to straighten him out. So taking a lot of chances is Sark, but certainly they have to improve on 5 and 7. That was not a good first season in Austin for him, especially the way they blew the Oklahoma game and the Red River shootout. They didn't play well against Iowa State. They just didn't have a good season. Did not look sound on both sides of the ball. Going to be really interested to see this Texas team and what kind of progress they make in year 2 under Steve Sarkisian.
All right, 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And you can get in on the show if you so want to. There's a little bit of time left for you to get in on the show this morning. We've talked a lot of Braves baseball. We talked high school or college football, but the high school baseball season, high school softball season, quickly, and I mean winding down. We're about ready to start area plays and tournaments.
Well, yeah, it's about the playoffs are about to start.
Yeah,
especially in 1 through 6A. This Friday they get cranked up. Now 7A, the regular season is ending this weekend. As far as on Friday and Saturday, a lot of those area series are wrapping up, and then most of the pairings have been decided already. But again, the regular seasons in 7A baseball and softball winding down this week, and 1 through 6A really already done. And we're going to have a lot of playoff action, best 2 out of 3, Scott, starting on Friday.
Our good friend Brewer Hicklin in adjusting to life in the Midwest.
In Omaha. And have you told him to get a pork sandwich, by the way, already?
No, I have not, but he's finding out that right now, I mean, okay, look, it is unseasonably cool
in Omaha,
in the Midwest right now. Okay,
Midwest,
my parents in Iowa, they got snow the other day again.
Yeah,
I mean they've had 40-degree weathers with 20-degree wind chills. I mean this is unseasonably cold. Brewer Hicklin is finding that out in Omaha right now. And yesterday, he put on his Facebook page that the one thing that he's finding out is that it's cold, and it's cold. Of course, Brewer, we're glad to see this. He is AAA.
I mean,
for
he's
the Omaha Storm Chasers.
One step away.
Yeah. So
are they the Storm Chasers now?
Yeah, they're the Omaha. They've been the Omaha Storm Chasers for quite a while. They're the Kansas City Royals.
Oh, I know. But they used to be the Omaha Royals years ago.
Yeah, that's when they played in Rosenblatt Stadium.
Yeah, that's right.
And of course, they made that move to TPC Ameritrade Park downtown Omaha, where the College World Series is. But yes, Brewer Hicklin finding out that life in the Midwest right now is cold. I thought that was pretty
Well, we just
funny.
hope his bat's hot and that he plays well and that he's going to make his major league debut this year. That would be unbelievable.
All right. So again, if you want to get in, you got about 30 seconds. You can 256-576-4977. And NBC did announce that Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, and Melissa Stark will be your Sunday night football broadcast team. Of course, Al Michaels moving on. So no, I guess, surprise there. Mike Tirico coming back into the broadcast booth for Sunday night football for NBC. He did split time with Al Michaels this past year because there were some Thursday, Sunday games there. But Mike Tirico coming in doing Sunday night football. No shock there, right? No shock?
No. That's what he was when he signed with NBC a few years ago and left ESPN. He was going to be the successor to Al Michaels when Al Michaels' contract ran out. He's played some other roles for NBC, but you knew that this was transparent. You knew this was coming, and that Al Michaels was going to move on to another place.
All right,
big shoes to fill, though. Al's one of the all-time greats, man.
All time. Think of all the great calls.
Man, he ages like Dick
Clark,
Clark, man. His voice is just the same. I mean, he's just unbelievable.
Unbelievable. 1980. I mean, 1980. He's the voice.
Do you believe in miracles? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, all right. That's
about the only hockey I can talk.
You can talk Havoc hockey.
Good luck to him in the second round. Isn't that the semifinals?
I guess.
Is it, Chad? It's the semis, right?
I haven't paid attention. I'm sorry, Coach Glenn. I haven't paid attention. All right, that's going to do it for our Tuesday show.
Thank you, Sonny.
Yep, we'll be back at it tomorrow morning. Wednesday edition of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Hey, this is Justin with the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. We'd like to invite you to North Alabama's premier patio bar and grill, where at the factory, we have something going on each and every night. Monday night, steak night. Tuesday night, karaoke. Wednesday night, the Jeep community comes out for Jeep Jam. Thursday, it's bike night, the biggest in the valley. Friday and Saturday, live concerts on our 4,000-square-foot patio, along with drink specials and a beautiful staff. What are you waiting on? We will see you at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill.
Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Quarterback Tom Brady says his love for the game of football inspired his return to the Buccaneers. Told ESPN's Tom Van Haren last night that even when he retired February 1st, he knew he could still handle another season in the NFL physically and began to think about going back to Tampa when free agency began last month. Also said he started to get the feeling he should still be playing, and the way the Bucs season ended with a loss to the Rams in the divisional round just didn't sit right with him. The Browns said in a statement they welcomed the NFL inquiry into claims made by ex-coach Hugh Jackson that the team intentionally lost games in the 2016 and 2017 seasons. Browns added they are confident the investigation results will show, as they previously stated, the allegations are false. Baseball Astros second baseman Jose Altuve day-to-day with a left hamstring strain sustained last night. He'll have tests done today.
From the ESPN studios at Pier 17 in the Seaport District of New York City, this is Greeny with Mike Greenberg on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and on ESPN Plus.
Back and better than ever, Greeny presented by Progressive Insurance. I've been away. I've got a lot to say. Some of it you're not going to like. We also have NFL trades, NFL draft, and football superstars playing golf. I'm absolutely here for that. It's time to go. Here we come.
Here we go! Only one place to start.
Now, the one place to start with the assembled members of the hashtag crew around us is also our absolute favorite. There's nothing better than when Diana Rossini can stick around for a little while after Get Up in studio with the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Hello again, Diana.
Hello.
What we learned today was that you were named after a Paul Anka song, the song Diana. I don't know why I assumed it. Let me tell everyone the story of how this started. So in a commercial break, you walked in and you were doing a British accent for no obvious reason.
I'm a strange bird.
Okay, fair enough. So, but it was actually pretty good. Give everyone just a moment of that.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Greeny's show. I don't even know what country that was.
No, neither do I.
Just go with it.
You did it better earlier.
I got nervous.
That one was that was like, what is Pygmalion? What is her name? And that was like
Eliza Doolittle.
Eliza Doolittle before she got became whatever. Anyway, so she does a British accent. So I said, "Oh, were you named after Princess Diana?" And it turns out, no.
I was named after Paul Anka's song Diana. My parents, who are in their late 60s, I guess when they were younger and they were dating, they heard that song and they said they always loved that name Diana and they remembered it. So when I was born.
And so then Diana started dancing with our stage manager, Brandon, and we shot that on camera and we showed it on TV. Did you know that Brandon, is he still in the room? He has a special attachment to a different song. That song is Killing Me Softly, the original one, the Roberta Flack version. And the reason he has a special attachment to that is because it is the song that was playing when he was conceived. Not when he was born, but when he was conceived. Mm-hmm. To which I immediately asked him, why the hell do you know that? Who tells their children what song was playing when they were conceived?
I feel like in 2022, it would be on video as well.
That's a video you want to make sure doesn't get out.
Imagine that became like a thing, like, here's the night you were conceived.
Right.
Take a look.
So Brandon has just made his way in the room, right? I'm not making this up. Killing Me Softly, Roberta Flack. Why do you know that? Like, why did your parents tell you that? In what context did your parents tell you that? He doesn't remember the context. Because he's trying desperately to strike it from his memory. He's still jarred and scarred by the very notion of this. So how'd we get into this, to be honest with you? I don't remember now why we started doing this, but it was an interesting...
Because we're just coming off discussing how we ended Get Up today.
Oh, that's right. So Diana
names.
was dancing. Now I'm going to segue it into what I think is the most interesting thing happening in the NFL right now. And that is Baker Mayfield, who 4 years ago was the first pick in the draft, who has played winning football in Cleveland. We are one season removed from him leading that woebegone franchise to a playoff victory against Pittsburgh, no less, and then giving a more than respectable showing in a loss to the Kansas City Chiefs the following week in the playoffs. He then has an injury-plagued season, and now... not only are the Browns moving on from him, they can't give him away. No team in the NFL wants him at all. Diana, why is this happening?
Well, first of all, it's the landscape of the NFL right now in terms of job openings. He can't go anywhere if there's no place for him to land, right? The quarterback position filled up really quickly this season. Obviously,
I have to stop you. Atlanta signed Marcus Mariota, right? I mean, we're talking about teams. Drew Lock is currently penciled in as a starter someplace. I don't mean to disrespect those guys, but neither of them have given you anything close to what Baker Mayfield has on the NFL level, right?
Yeah, well, some of it comes with the fact that he comes with a very big contract, right? He's close to $19 million guaranteed. Cleveland does not want to take on any of that. They don't. They don't want to even meet halfway. And they've been pretty stuck in the mud on this. So teams aren't willing to take on that much for a quarterback that won't even be starting, because every team has their starter at this point, including Seattle with Drew Lock and then signed Geno Smith just a week ago. To me, that said, they're out of the game of Baker Mayfield. I know Baker had said in that interview that he thought that, Seattle would be the right place for him. He meant fit. The fit in Seattle works great for Baker. That doesn't necessarily mean the interest. So here we are where, the name that was floating around through a report, it wasn't through ESPN at all, but it was a report that was out there, that the Carolina Panthers have shown strong interest in Baker Mayfield. And, I spoke to Carolina yesterday about it, and they made it very clear that, pump the brakes on we're all in on Baker here. If we're going to do anything, it's going to be after the draft. And it just seems to me, if he was a free agent, if they were able to get rid of the contract, I think more teams would be in. Nobody wants to pay that money for Baker right now.
See, the other piece of that, though, that I find, I'll just make this Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Hembo was sitting right here. Hembo, what is the average quarterback salary right now? I'll give you a minute to look it up, because $19 million for a starting quarterback in the NFL is nothing. I mean, it is pennies.
Yes.
So I keep hearing, and you keep saying it, and I don't mean to attack you, but no one wants to take on $19 million. If you thought the guy was going to be your quarterback, $19 million would be a bargain. What do you have there, Hembo?
The average salary amongst the top 10 players at that position is now more than $40 million.
$40 million? He's get paid less than half of that. I understand he's not one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the NFL, but is he one of the 10 worst? I'm struggling. To me, there's more to this than the money. There's more to this than the timing. It is about him. It is about people, for whatever reason. I don't know him. He's been on the show a time or two. So it is about him. I think that there is a personal thing going on here with Baker Mayfield for whatever reason.
Anytime I've covered this league and an athlete, specifically a quarterback who essentially is the face of the franchise, acts emotionally, it never ends well. Going back to, and all due respect to our colleague Robert Griffin III, when I covered him, that was something that he had to manage a lot. And he'd probably talk to us about it, just the development, the maturity, he and what he learned from his time in Washington. But I just remember covering that team, and it came with a lot of drama. And some of it was the organization, but a lot of it had to do with what he was sharing. And I think we live in a space now in 2022, and we joke all the time about social media. Everyone feels the need to air it out. That's not what teams want their quarterback to do. They wanted to air it out on the field with the ball, not their feelings. And to be a smart, savvy business person, keeping those emotions in check is a huge part of it. And you hear coaches talk to their players about it. I've listened in on meetings and heard them talk with their players about making sure you don't reveal a thing. No advantages to anyone else. And Baker, from the day that, we found out that the Cleveland Browns met with Deshaun Watson, and he obviously felt slighted. I had spoken to his camp. They told me they knew nothing about it, that they never had a conversation. The Cleveland Browns never told Baker. They said he was the future. His feelings were hurt. He goes on Instagram, writes that whole potential goodbye letter to Cleveland. Then he does this interview. And I think for a lot of GMs and head coaches, it's just too much.
Yep. Now, see, this is what we're talking about. That's what I'm getting at. Teams don't want him, because it's not because he's not a good enough player. He's a way better player than a lot of other teams' options are right now, and he's better than any player in the draft. If he was in this draft, he would easily be the first quarterback taken. So it's about more stuff than that. It is a cautionary tale. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. This is Greeny with Diana in our studio, presented by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. All right, quickly, because while I have you here, there's nothing we enjoy more than when you give marital advice to Hembo. So Hembo's young, relatively newly married. Diana, you're just a person of outstanding insight. So you got married, Diana, during COVID.
I did.
And I asked you, because you couldn't have a big party, you would have had a big wedding and all that kind of stuff. You have a big family, you have a million friends. I know you would have had a big wedding, but you couldn't do it during COVID. Hembo has some friends who did the same thing. They got married during COVID, and they couldn't have a big party. So now they've decided to have a big celebration party. Hembo knows about this because many of his friends called him and said, when are you traveling there? When are you going? Aren't you excited for the party? Hembo himself was not invited to this party, and his feelings are hurt. So he did the Baker Mayfield thing. Hembo, tell Diana what you did.
I went to his online registry. I bought the cheapest item I could find, which was an $18 grill brush, and I sent it to him with a nice note that said, congratulations, enjoy your future together. So as to acknowledge, look, I know that you made this thing, and I know that I was not invited.
Mm-hmm.
And that was worth the $18 for me.
But his wife, Lizzie, is furious because this is so passive-aggressive, so embarrassing, and these are people they could, in theory, now... Imagine the scenario. This grill brush shows up. Now, these people have to reach out to Hembo to make sure he's aware he's not invited, right? If you send a gift... All of a sudden, now, Diana, I send you a gift. You got to be, hold on a second. Greenie, I got to make sure you know you're not invited to this wedding. So I just would like your read on the situation.
Well, I thought you were going to say you scrubbed your friend from your social media. Like you looked for photos of you guys back in 2016 in the summer at the beach.
Right.
You're
Even
like,
worse.
delete, block them. I think the brush idea was fantastic.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yes,
Let's go.
And I think... if it were me, I would have added a message along with it, which was like, I am brushing you out of my life. Something along the lines to be clever. No. First of all, why do you think you weren't invited? Did your relationship change since the marriage?
No, the reasons are unclear. That's the problem.
But wait a minute, go back. Was he invited to your wedding?
He was.
Did he show up?
He did not.
Did he send a gift?
He did not.
He doesn't like you.
That's correct.
Oh!
That's what we have to get to the bottom of is he's just not that into you.
This was one of my best friends growing up. We have a mutual friend group. They're asking me about it constantly, if I'm coming, if I'm not coming. Now we have a separate group chat about whether or not we should tell him we're talking about this on the radio. So I'm the only one excluded from this event.
Yeah, no. He doesn't like you. You don't like him. Here's the thing about getting older.
Oh, I like him.
Like you just, it's okay. You can just move on. You have plenty of friends. People like you around
He doesn't
here.
have that many friends.
I beg to differ. He is a great texter, and if you're a good texter, you probably have a lot of friends.
Count
that or
isn't
you're
the
bored
issue.
and alone and you have nothing to do.
My friend count isn't the issue.
Your friend count is the issue.
The relationship here is the issue. I obviously think it's one thing. He thinks it's another, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
This is the issue.
Through his actions, Diana. Let's get to the scrubbing of the social media here, because that is like the new thing that we do here.
You love that side.
Well, but you were talking about it. I saw with Jay Will and the guys this morning on KJM.
Yeah, well, a lot of my single girlfriends, who are out in the dating pool, when I was single, I had a rule. I never posted anyone I was dating. Until the ring was on my finger, I wasn't going to share that person with the world. Because you know what winds up happening? You're dating Bobby, you're dating Tommy, you're dating David. Before you know it, the world thinks you're dating everyone in New York.
Right.
So it was like, gets a little weird. So I wanted to wait for the one. Which is, I did, and I still don't even post about it. I'm sorry, Kev. But that being said, my single friends, they will post every guy they have a cup of coffee with. And then that relationship ends, and then you notice on their social media, Bobby's gone. And it's like, hey, Jane, we knew you were dating Bobby.
Meaning they disappeared.
You literally videoed every moment you had together.
They scrub the old pictures.
Yeah, you go back, and you find it, and you just delete. So you put out sort of the persona that I never dated him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm single and ready to mingle, which I also understand that too, because it is a little weird. Like, especially like us, all three of us, we're married. It would be weird if we had our exes, right? And
I agree.
Like,
totally.
Me and my old boyfriend Jimmy on the beach, like looking into each other's eyes. Like, nobody wants to see that. And definitely my husband's family doesn't want to see that. But I do think in 2022, you have all athletes do this. The minute they are fed up with something that has happened in their organization, they don't know what to do. So it's like, I'm going to hurt them. I'm deleting you from my Instagram.
Right.
Like, Do you think Kyle Shanahan is sitting there going, I can't believe he doesn't want to, he erased the photo of me and him talking on the sideline. Kyle Shanahan does not care. He's watching film at this moment. So I do think it's a reactionary thing. It gives players a feeling of control, just like it gives my single girlfriends a feeling of control.
Very quickly, because I'm going to be out of time. What you're referring to Deebo Samuel. I have only one question.
Yes.
Is he going to wind up on the Jets?
No.
I saw someone sent me a story that said he was the betting favorite. The Jets were the betting favorite to land him.
I have a hard time believing John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are going to let this freak of nature in Deebo Samuel, how they use him in Kyle's offense, go, because he's that special and it works so well. And I know Deebo loves playing for Kyle, and Kyle obviously loves Deebo.
I'll ask you again.
Sure.
Can you make Deebo Samuel wind up on the Jets? Do you have that power?
I am not a bona fide rear end kicker, Mike.
Lewis said that on TV. Diana, you are the unquestioned best. Thank you, as always. The great Diana Rossini. It's time to say goodnight to that check engine light with the free AutoZone Fix Finder service. It'll help troubleshoot the likely cause of your light for free so you can drive with peace of mind. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone with AutoZone. Coming up, my top 5 takeaways from the NBA, and I'm going to take a position on something that is going to infuriate you. That is next. This is Greeny. We're on ESPN Radio.
Tuesday on Bart and Hahn, we'll recap a trio of game twos in the NBA playoffs, and we'll talk to one of the top defensive players in the upcoming NFL draft. That's Bart and Hahn, 12 o'clock Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN Plus.
Financing a new home couldn't be easier when you choose Cross Country Mortgage. Their mission is simple: to provide you with the best possible lending options and offer a transparent mortgage process for everyone involved. With their dedicated team of loan officers, your dream home could be yours in an average of 21 days. For homeowners, they offer renos, refis, jumbo loans, everything you need to keep your house feeling like home. Visit ccm.com. Cross Country Mortgage, dedicated to getting it done. Cross Country Mortgage, LLC, NMLS 3029, www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org, Equal Housing Opportunity.
I'm Serena Williams. You watch me live on TV.
And I'm that voice from movies you watch on demand. DirecTV Stream brought us together to save the world.
Maybe not save the world, but DirecTV Stream does bring your live and on-demand favorites together.
Your favorites together.
I just said that.
She just said that.
Introducing DirecTV Stream, the best of live TV and on-demand with no annual contract. Get your TV together at DirecTV.com.
Requires high-speed internet and compatible device. Content varies by package and location. Restrictions apply.
You're listening to Greeny on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Now, it's time for your Atlanta Braves morning update.
Braves fall in Game 1 against the Dodgers 7-4. I'm Wiley Ballard. This is your Braves Radio Network morning update.
A-list season ticket members receive the best seats at the lowest prices. First access to postseason tickets and so much more. Learn more at Braves.com/A-list.
Well, it was Freddie Freeman's first game against the Braves since signing with the Dodgers last month, and he came through with a big swing in the bottom of the first.
A one from Manoah. Lifted to deep left center field, sprinting back, and a hurry is Duvall. That is gone.
So that gave the Dodgers a 1-0 lead. L.A. piled on with 5 runs in the fourth, chasing Brave starter Huascar Ynoa, who finished going 3 2/3, giving up 5 runs in the second start of the season. And while the Dodgers led 6-0 after 4, the Braves slowly chipped away with a solo home run from Guillermo Heredia in the 5th, a solo homer from Ozzie Albies in the 6th, along with a couple more runs, which cut the game to a 6-4 score. The Dodgers leading, but ultimately Atlanta would draw no closer. L.A. got a big insurance run in the bottom of the 8th, a solo homer from Cody Bellinger, and Craig Kimbrell polished off his 3rd save of the season, facing the minimum in the 9th inning. Atlanta looks to get back at it Tuesday night against the Dodgers as they face off against Walker Buehler getting the start for L.A. Meanwhile, Max Fried, Atlanta's ace, gets the ball for the Braves. Game 2 of the series begins at 10:10 Eastern, 9:10 Central, and our pregame coverage with the Ford Leadoff Show will begin at 8:55 Eastern, 7:55 Central. We hope you'll join us for Game 2 of Braves-Dodgers Tuesday night on the Braves Radio Network.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Madison Academy football. Stop into the University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com to view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in a Kia. Go Mustangs!
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
The PGA Tour's Korn Ferry Tour is coming to the Rocket City. Join us at the Ledges for the Huntsville Championship, April 29th through May 2nd. Experience the beauty and drama of the course firsthand. Witness golf's rising stars chase their PGA Tour dreams. Cheer on the future of golf up close and personal. Tickets are on sale now at HuntsvilleChampionship.com.
Paid for by Friends of Francis Taylor, P.O. Box 12122, Huntsville, Alabama 35815.
There is only one conservative choice for House District 20.
That choice? Republican Francis Taylor.
Francis Taylor is a proven Republican.
Francis Taylor is a former president of the Alabama Federation of Republican Women.
And a former vice president of the National Federation of Republican Women.
Francis Taylor is a fiscal conservative who opposes tax increases on our hardworking families.
She will fight to repeal Common Core and to ensure that our elections are safe and secure.
And Francis Taylor is not a puppet of liberal Montgomery special interests.
In fact, she will stand up to the Montgomery political bosses.
Francis Taylor stood with President Trump and wrote several columns endorsing him for president in 2016.
House District 20 needs someone who stood with President Trump. We don't need a never-Trumper.
Republican Francis Taylor, proven Republican conservative, not a puppet of special interests.
There is only one choice for House District 20, Republican Francis Taylor.
The Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Not a bad Tuesday afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Going to be just a touch on the chilly end of the spectrum, especially when you consider the fact that we are getting into the later part of April. Temperatures only climbing into the lower 60s, but under a mostly sunny sky. Temperatures drop into the low 40s as we head into the overnight. A little more cloud cover for your Wednesday, but temperatures are going to begin to climb. Highs hanging out in the mid and upper 60s. Some of us could see the lower 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You know, this process is all about talking ball.
Listen to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond.
What did they want privacy for? To just start talking ball.
Every weekday morning, wake up with Scott and Drew. It's Talkin' Ball. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Bubba is playing Paul Anka's Diana on our return in honor of our delightful friend. There's no one I enjoy more than Diana, right? This is Greeny, presented by Progressive Insurance. I'll do the read in a second of a million things. All kidding aside, Hembo, is there anyone who's more fun to have in here than Diana? I don't play favorites. Everyone is wonderful. No one is quite like she is.
No, she is the best, and the fact that she affirmed my purchase of the grill brush was an upset of epic proportions, and I'm here for it.
I don't think she really meant that. What everyone should know is that Hembo is all of the analysts at ESPN worship Hembo because no one gives you better information. I was just the first one who was smart enough to say, let's put him on my show. But everyone likes you. So that's Diana's way of trying to get you to give her information you don't give to other people.
She's
That's
just
all that was.
She's saying the things she's supposed to say, not what she actually thinks.
That's good. There's literally zero chance she believes what she just said. All right, Greeny here. We'll continue in 30 seconds after this word from ZipRecruiter. The job search can be a frustrating journey filled with long, lonely hours on the computer and countless attempts to get noticed by employers. ZipRecruiter gets it. No one wants to feel alone in their job search. That's why ZipRecruiter's AI does so much of the work for you. They save you time by sending you jobs you can apply to with one click, and they pitch your profile to employers so you stand out. Job seekers feel the love. Sign up for free at ZipRecruiter.com. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com.
The list is what determines who matters in this business.
Green List.
All right, the Green List with us here, my top 5, this, that, or the other. And on this day, I will make it my top 5 NBA takeaways so far. I apologize, I've been away for a few days. We were out in L.A. doing the NBA shows this weekend. So I have bottled up all of my NBA insight. And I want, in a few moments after I give you my takeaways, we will hear from the assembled members of the hashtag crew, hashtag Nuno, hashtag Bubba, and hashtag Hembo with their NBA takeaways. But here are my top 5.
Number 5.
The Brooklyn Nets are not coached. Not that they're not coached well, they're not coached. I did not see them do one thing in that game on Sunday that they should have won 800 different ways. I did not see a single adjustment. They run down the court and they say, on this possession, Kyrie is going to try and find a way to score. And on this possession, KD is going to try and find a way to score. And they at no point did anything about the fact that the defense the Celtics were playing was all over KD. They were swarming him. They were diving at him. They were bodying him. They were doing everything. And it seems to me that Steve Nash and the Nets coaches just sat there, watched it, and said, well, this is going to be a problem. And I don't know that it occurred to them. This is something they can actually try and do something about. Look, I know I'm spoiled because I covered Phil Jackson for all those years. That's my history. I tell you what, there's no way Phil Jackson would have just sat there for 48 minutes and let teams do to Michael Jordan what the Celtics did to Kevin Durant. No way. And so I don't think he's coaching. I think KD and Kyrie were being honest at the beginning when they said, we just want someone in here who's going to watch us, and we'll figure it all out. And they didn't. So do something, for crying out loud. Make an adjustment going to game 2. That's why I keep asking the questions on Get Up. What adjustments can the Nets make? Because I'm hoping either KD or Kyrie are watching and they'll hear it and then they can implement it. Because it's not evident to me that the coaching staff is going to do it. They didn't do anything. There was not a single adjustment made in game 1 of that series.
Number 4.
This could not have set up better for the Sixers. And I'll talk to Hembo about this in a couple of minutes. But the Sixers, I mean, there was like a path rolled out for them. The Raptors have dropped like flies. Scotty Barnes is hurt. Gary Trent shouldn't have been on the floor yesterday. Thaddeus Young shouldn't have been on the floor yesterday. Give them credit. They were playing hurt, or in one case sick. But they had no chance in that. The Sixers are going to race through this series. Milwaukee's on the other side of the draw. Boston's on the other side of the draw. The Nets are on the other side of the draw. I get that Miami is excellent. They're the 1 seed. I'm not trying to diminish them. But they basically have one series of consequence to get to the conference final. I don't think you could possibly have asked for this to set up better for the Sixers. And I said that to Stephen A. the other day. And you know what he said to me? It means they have no excuses. There are no excuses for the Sixers. And I totally agree. If they don't make a deep playoff run this year, then every question that is asked about them will be legitimate. It's my Green List, my top 5 NBA takeaways.
Number 3.
The Warriors are the biggest threat to the Suns in either conference. Not only are they the biggest threat to the Suns in the West, I think the winner of Suns-Warriors in the conference final will win the championship. That's what I think. I have Suns-Nets in the NBA finals. That's why I'm rooting so hard for Brooklyn, because everyone is telling me I'm crazy and I want to be right. The Suns are the best team. They've been the best team. But if you go back, I mean, Christmas Day, I'm sitting in this studio doing the NBA show. The Warriors were the best team in the NBA, not the Suns. And then the Warriors started getting hurt. First it was Draymond, then it was Steph. And then the Suns went crazy, and they've had a brilliant year. Take nothing away from them. But there was a moment in this season when the Warriors were the best team. And they look it again right now. I know they're playing a depleted Denver team. But this kid, Jordan Poole, is unbelievable. So I think the Warriors are the biggest threat to Phoenix. I still pick Phoenix. but I believe that I believe they will meet in the conference final, and I believe the winner of that series will win the championship.
Number 2.
My number 2 takeaway at this point here is Minnesota-Memphis is going to be the best first-round series. It's not going to get the attention Boston and Brooklyn is going to get because those are superstars. Memphis, they have so many good young players in that, and the only one anyone really pays much attention to is Ja Morant. But they've got a bunch of good players in Memphis, and Minnesota, that kid Anthony Edwards is ridiculous. He's unreal. He went first in the draft no one paid attention to in 2020, so I don't think people pay enough attention to him. You see the body on that kid? Oh, my God. I will admit it. Minnesota's a team. We didn't have them much this year. I did not see a lot of them. You know Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell's a good player, and that freaking Anthony Edwards is a man. He is a grown man, to use what is usually a football expression. So I don't think they're going away easy at all. So I think that has a chance to be an outstanding series between two really, really good teams.
Number 1.
And finally, number 1, I think Nuno is going to get his wish. I think Donovan Mitchell is going to want out of Utah. I think they're going to lose that series. And I think Luka will eventually come back. I think Utah's going to get bounced in the first round. Luka, Woj told me that in the regular season, that would be a 10 to 12-day injury. They just all they needed, Dallas, was to split these 2 games at home, and they did. By winning last night, I think they buy themselves Luka's return. He comes back, even if it's not till game 4, and then I think they win the series. And if/when they do, I do believe Donovan Mitchell decides he needs out of Utah. Now, whether he decides he wants to go to the Knicks or not, that's an entirely different conversation, but it is the necessary first step. So I believe Nuno is going to get what he wants. I think Donovan Mitchell is going to want out of Utah. And that is my green list, my top 5 NBA takeaways so far. I am Greeny, and we are presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Let me bring in the assembled members of the hashtag crew, starting with my VP of Basketball Insight, and that would be Nuno. Nuno, what is your number 1 takeaway, either from what I said or any other direction you want to go?
Well, I think if you were watching Jazz Mavs last night, you saw 2 future Knicks playing, Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell. But I think we, as basketball fans, are owed Suns Warriors in that Western Conference Finals. Like, that's what we need to see. That would... I think you would get 7 games of, 130 to 120 score lines and the excitement, and I think that's what we need, I think, as fans.
Look, these first round of the playoffs are going to have some really attractive matchups. Nets Celtics obviously is great. I just told you Memphis, Minnesota. But this is going to sound awful, but there is some riffraff to be eliminated, right? This first round, you're going to have some blowouts. When we get to the next round, it is going to be epic. The next round right now is, let's just say, the likeliest matchups. The next round is going to be Memphis, Golden State, Phoenix, let's say Phoenix, Dallas, or Phoenix, Utah. And maybe that's not something you write home about, but it has a chance. If Luka's playing and playing well, has a chance to be a good series. Then you're looking at most likely Milwaukee against either Boston or the Nets, and Philly, Miami. The next round of the playoffs is going to be epic. Absolutely epic. This is going to be a great postseason, really starting to pick up steam a week or so from now. Hashtag Bubba, I have not chatted with you in a while. It is delightful to see you and to hear your voice, as we will now. What is your number 1 takeaway?
Hello, Greeny. I think the number 1 takeaway is the Warriors. I love that pick. I think that's sneaky big news. And it's not hashtag Bubba, it's hashtag Liam.
Well, listen, you didn't have to tell me that it was Liam, but I hadn't seen... You're not running the board today, are you? What are you doing? What are you doing in there?
I'm running the board because Bubba's not with us today.
Where's Bubba?
He's roaming around the hallways somewhere.
Why?
He's doing other things, training people. He's kind of boycotting the show today.
Bubba is training others. Liam, we have to have a conversation. Now, any old Mike and Mike fans will know exactly who this is. The legendary Liam, who produced Mike and Mike forever. He's now one of these empty suits at ESPN. and his mother became sort of a legendary figure on our show, Liam's mom. Why do you have Bubba training people? I mean, what are you hoping people will learn from being trained by Bubba?
How not to act.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right? We're modeling, like you've got two little kids, and so we all know that you, as a parent, they pay attention to what you do, not to what you say. So you should be modeling good behavior. You're suggesting that your strategy here is to go the opposite, and you're modeling this terrible behavior and hoping people will learn to go the other way?
Yes, the first person that anyone meets that we hire here, they sit with Bubba for a couple of weeks. And then he thinks, oh, it's great, I'm training him, I love it. And then on the third week, I say, forget everything he taught you. Come over here and learn from Nuno.
Listen, how nice is it to hear Liam's voice again? Right, everybody loves the accent, even through the mask. Can we lose the mask? Or
Sure,
is that,
yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of accents, what was Diana doing?
So Diana, I have to tell you, she did, in a commercial break, a reasonably good British accent. She did sort of the posh one, like the Queen, not the Queen herself, but like a rich person in London. Then she came in here, and all of a sudden she was like Eliza Doolittle. Like I asked her, I called her out on the spot to do it, and she went like into this sort of Cockney, not very like refined.
Yeah.
Right? Is that how it sounded to you?
Yeah, I did. It did. Yeah, I was expecting something really, really good, and all of a sudden she comes out, it sounds a bit rough, and I was like, all right, well,
The rain
She did
in
sound-
Spain stays mainly in
the water
plain.
in Mallorca don't taste like it oughta, you know?
Okay. Oh, a delight to have an honorary member of, a lifetime member of the hashtag crew is hashtag Liam. All right. And I turn to you now, Hembo, on your Sixers. So you, like everybody, I keep using the word consternating. You were consternating. Everybody was consternating about the Sixers. Do you feel totally better now after 2 games?
No, you can't help but be really, really encouraged. The number of teams that have won games 1 and 2 by at least 15 points in the playoffs that wound up losing that series are so few. But Doc Rivers is very capable of doing it. Like Doc Rivers has lost 4 series as a coach in which his team had a 2-game advantage, as the 76ers do now. Of course, I'm encouraged by what I've seen, mostly from Tyrese Maxey. But look, this is the Embiid that we're getting moving forward. And if this is the Harden we're going to get moving forward, it's not obvious to me that the Sixers are in any better shape now than they were in a week ago. He's not scoring the basketball at a nearly efficient enough clip for me to feel like they can be a legitimate title contender.
Well, he's not scoring the basketball basically at all. So the question is, does he have that 37-point game in him when you need one? You probably won't need one to get through this series. Does he have that game in him? It has not been evident for the last, 2 months. I mean, when he first got there, the trade was made, early February?
His first game with the Sixers was the 25th of February.
25th of February. So that's not even 2 months, which is, my goodness. I mean, time is just, my perception of time is fascinating. I feel like that trade was something like 3.5 years ago. But so it hasn't even been 2 months. Boy, that isn't, just stop and let your mind marinate on that for a second. Anyway, it felt like he had like a really good week or so, and then it has fallen off completely. What have you seen? Why has it fallen off so, and can he recapture it?
So I don't think it is likely that James Harden will ever be the scorer that he was in his prime in Houston, because he doesn't finish at the rim the way that he could, and he can't blow by people the way that he used to either. Now, that's okay. You can still be a really good and efficient player, but you're not paying James Harden. Like, the idea here is not that he comes and becomes a pass-first point guard to run stuff that you could have almost anyone else do. So I'm going to remain a skeptic based upon his postseason track record and the postseason track record of our head coach, whom I still don't believe in.
All right, we will talk more about that as we go along the way. Plenty of hoops in the conversation. But up next, I am going to take a position on something that is going to infuriate you, but I'm right. You'll hear it right after this word from NetSuite. In growing companies, there are 2 kinds of CFOs. The one overwhelmed with manual processes, errors, and lack of control of the numbers, and the one who uses NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. With visibility and control